my notes. But you can go through wordstorm.ca, you know, to their site, and it'll give you the name of the magazine and all the information for making submissions if anyone wants to submit a poem or a short story of 500 words or less. I submitted 1 poem and 1 short story. And it's called Wordstorm.
Good. Awesome.
If Derek, you might want to announce that later if after more people have joined up.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I will.
Hello, Judith.
We'll keep that in mind, Joy.
Sure.
Just okay.
Hello there, Judith.
Judith's iPad. And there's Jennifer.
Oh, hey, Jennifer. We'll go to Jennifer next.
Evening.
Okay, sounds good. So how's the weather back in Ontario, Jennifer and Bruce? We got 2 people from Ontario on here now.
Well, not too bad where I am. It was about 3 degrees or so, not much going on.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, windy and hovering around 0 just west of Toronto.
Oh. Well, send us some sunshine.
Did you get flooded out there on the island, or is that just...
Parts of the island, Nanaimo and down towards Victoria did, but Port Alberni was pretty good.
Geez, it's all over the news. Heavenly days.
That's pretty bad.
Okay, Judith, can you hear me? Judith. Please unmute. Yes.
Hello, how about now?
There we go, Judith.
Can't see you though.
I don't know why.
It says your name, that's all.
Well,
Start
I don't
video.
know.
Hit the start video down there. Lower left.
Oh, there you are.
How about now?
Yes,
There
we
we
see
are.
you. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, I'm here.
Yes, we can hear you, but can't see you. That's fine for now. Oh, there you are. Never mind.
There.
Perfect.
Hello, hi everyone.
Good.
Hello, Victoria.
Good to see you.
But you're sort of sideways there, Judith. We gotta like turn our heads to see you. You're sideways.
Gotta move for a minute.
Oh, there you go.
Gotta move for a minute. Where are we?
Hello, Randy.
Okay.
Now. Hello, Randy. Can you hear me? Randy, can you hear me? Oh, that's right. Never mind. Derek,
Yeah,
are you reading for Randy?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, but he's okay. Perfect. So never mind. I don't need to hear him.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Yeah. all good.
Hello there, Dorothy and Earl. Nice to see. Thank you for coming on and listening.
Hi, Mom and Earl. Waving.
Dorothy and Earl are Char's mom and dad.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh.
Where are they, Char?
They're up in Kelowna, the Kelowna area.
Oh, nice.
Cut off.
So you've had anybody buy the book yet? Derek, do you know of?
I got my copy.
Well, I know
I
that.
got several copies.
You got several copies, but you
Yeah,
don't know that.
I don't know how many Colton's sold, but just from the authors alone, we've sold quite a few. So it's great.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I just ordered my copy today.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I ordered it from my lovely Amazon. I love Amazon. They're so quick and easy. I can't believe how quick they are at getting stuff here.
Good.
But you could get one hand delivered just from RCN where you are.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't want it right away.
What?
I don't want it right away. I want to wait.
Oh,
because I don't know yet. Maybe a gift.
I thought you wanted it fast and quick and easy.
No,
anyhow.
No, it will come. It'll be here pretty quick. It will be here about the 24th. It could have been here before that if I would have. I hum and hawed about it. So
Just in terms of what we do, are we allowed to plug anything during our little set, or do we do that in the chat, or what should we
Yeah, do it in the chat would be good, Ian. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, try and keep the focus on the anthology for the launch. And
No problem.
Yeah,
No problem.
that'd be great. Great.
I'll try to find a link.
Okay, perfect.
Maybe no.
Okay, and Bob is reader number 6.
Yes.
Okay.
he's right after, because Cynthia's going to do your part of your reading, and then she's going to be part of the part of the mic too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Carl, I was ready to read a short thingy tonight if that's okay.
Yep. You can be. You can go right after Bob.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would, because since you guys went down to they went down to 20, I opened it up 2 more mic or so.
Okay.
Yeah, and Deb Oakes is not going to be able to make it, Carl, so we can take Deb off the list there.
Deb.
Number 6. She was number 6 on our list. Yeah.
Okay. No show. Okay. We'll just put it as no show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already have her name down, so I'm not gonna. There we go. Well, that's good. Well, it's good to see Bruce. Haven't seen Bruce forever on here.
I've been working my guts out here on the property, so I've been busy raking leaves the last while, bag after bag after bag, and wheelbarrow down the back gully.
Oh, wow.
Wine.
Yeah, that time of year.
Well, it was
Oh,
blowing
good.
yesterday, and most of the stuff I raked up blew back on before I got to it, so I got to redo it tomorrow. They're big maple leaves, hundreds and millions of them.
When you're done, you can come do my yard, Bruce.
She's not, no.
Yeah. Well, we don't normally rake them, I guess, in BC, but you sure got to do it here. Man.
I have a half an acre, and as some of you might remember, a couple of times ago, I read a story I wrote about my big trees,
Hello,
my big
Liberty.
firs and cedars. But at the back, they had a number of, I call them the nuisance maples, that were doing the same thing to me.
Okay, Joy, I gotta. We're doing sound check for everybody, so
Okay.
I gotta make sure I can hear everybody. Hey, Libby.
Hi, guys. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Is that enough for a sound check?
You sound good.
Okay. Hi, Derek.
Hey, see you later, Libby.
And sorry there, Joy.
No, I was just responding to his comment about the maple leaves. And I didn't really want the developer to take out the 22 trees next to me. But when he said he'd take up those nuisance maples, then I said, okay, because I won't have to rake them anymore because they're going to be gone.
Maple leaves are a fair size, and they take a lot of raking anyway. The wind blows them real easy. And around here, you put them in waste bags for pickup, right? So I've been stuffing a bunch. I must have gone through about 12 bags in the last 2 weeks.
I believe it.
Well, we've got green bin pickup now in Port Alberni, Bruce, so we can stick our leaves in the big green bin and they'll come and take them away. It's nice.
Yeah.
But first is when it snowed on Thursday. I took the blue bin down my parents' driveway. Was fine. I almost slipped, fell. But I fell when I took the green bin. Literally fell. So I don't know about that green bin right now.
No, they're big.
They're big, and it was had quite a bit of stuff. So I thought I'd be okay.
Hey, Bruce, the big leaf maples are great for mulching. They really cover your garden bed really well and keep it very protected. And they're really also very, very good for the dry layer if you're doing composting at home.
Yeah.
So they're very useful.
Okay. Hello, Kathy and David. Can you hear me, Kathy and David? It's been a while. Yeah, I wasn't here the last word on fire. I mean, Electric Mermaid. I mean,
Mike.
sorry.
Electric.
Hello, Kathy and David. Can you hear me? Kathy and David. Hello. If you can hear me, you can unmute so I can hear you.
Working on it. Am I got audio? Can
Okay.
you hear me or not?
Yes, I can hear. I can hear you.
Yeah. Oh
Barely.
my goodness. Sound like you're in a swimming pool.
I can't
As
really.
long as we don't sound like we're in a swimming pool.
Oh, it's just Karl, huh?
Hello.
Lots of background noise at Char's.
Yes, that's what she had to bring the thing back to me because all I hear is Phil behind me. We can hear you, but we can't see you, David and Kathy.
Oh, you can't see me. Well, what have I done wrong? Oh,
Start the
start video. How
Start
about that?
video.
How about I click start video?
That would do it.
That'll do it.
No, wait a minute. Well, that didn't do the trick. Why doesn't start video work?
There we
There you
go.
are.
There.
There we
Start
go.
video worked.
That's okay. We
Can't see
understand.
David because he's not being seen.
So I thought maybe David was busy combing his hair. That's why you didn't want to come on right away.
That's it. That's it. He's getting ready. He's getting ready for the big event.
Getting the last touches on the makeup.
Yes, yes.
I'm in the green room.
He's in the green room.
I forgot to tell him not to say about that. Okay, I totally forgot about that. I don't want to say that. Yeah.
Wish I had some glasses that didn't reflect light. Do my eyes look big white
Nope.
circles?
You're okay.
Okay,
No, you're
thank
good.
you.
Joanna. Hello, Joanna.
Hmm.
Hi. Let
Hello.
me turn on my video for you. Hi.
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 Sure.
I am toggled to my phone because my unfortunately the Wi-Fi at my float house is terrible, and so I'm toggling to my phone, but I think I might spend a majority of the evening as a silent picture.
That's fine. As long as we can see you while you're reading, that's all we need to see.
Okay. Okay, great. Sorry. Thank you. How's it going, everybody? And congratulations. It's awesome. It's so
Yay.
great.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah.
I've just had a chance to start diving in, and everything looks really, really fun. So, yeah.
Yeah, quite a variety in there. There's a,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
something
Well,
for everyone.
just a great initiative. And I was trying to remember how it started, like what was the impetus for it?
I don't know if it was Jackie or if it was me, one of us said, you know, we should do an anthology as a fundraiser, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
I'm gonna say it's both of you. I bet you it was both of you. It sounds
Yeah.
like both of you would do.
Yeah, it was probably Jackie.
Oh, come on.
She's much more of a mover and shaker than I am, you know. I'm a joiner, right? You got the ball rolling, okay, I'll jump on board.
Okay. Hello, Kamal. How are you doing? There she is. No, Deb.
Okay, now I've got the chat
Hello,
going.
how are you?
Good.
Good, Kamal, good to see you.
Hi, yeah, good to see
Hello.
you.
Okay, sounds good. And Callie. She's a regular lady, yeah. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. You actually made it this time.
Yes, I did.
Yay, Kelly.
Hi, Derek.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Really well, thanks. So good to have you on board.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on your book.
Yeah, it's
There we
awesome.
go. There's.
Excited.
Have a chance to get together and celebrate it a little bit and get everybody to read a pinch or two. It'd be nice, yeah. And
You're-
congratulations on your book too, Kelly.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, Derek. What is the name of the anthology? I don't know. I don't remember anything about it. And when did it get started? Was it a few years?
AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY, it's called.
Okay.
Yeah, there, Libby's holding it up to the screen for you.
Yeah, because some of us don't know about it.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll give you all the goods when we get into the launch part later.
Great.
But,
Okay.
yeah, it started, I don't know, probably a year or so ago. We got the germ going and then put the call out there. I think it was probably a month or two before you started coming on board to Electric Mermaid there.
I think it was. Otherwise, I probably would have submitted something, but I didn't.
No doubt. Yeah. Yeah.
Catch me next time.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. So are you still in the Comox Valley, Kelly?
I am. Yeah.
Good, good. And you guys weathered that storm okay? I imagine the puntledge was pretty high after all that
Pretty
rain.
high. Yeah, it was pretty.
Oh,
I actually
boy.
got lost on a dog walk a few days ago. I was a little scared because it was so high and it was getting dark. Oh, this is the dumbest move ever, but it was fine. But the next flood, if it happens here, we're in big trouble because we're right in between the ocean and the river, as you know. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
No.
yeah.
it's
Boy.
we're all susceptible, really. I mean, doesn't
Totally.
matter where.
Yeah. As one old timer pointed out on the radio the other day, he said, you know, usually we have flooding when it's quick melt in the spring coupled with a heavy
Derek,
rain.
sorry, Derek.
Sorry, go ahead, Carl.
So Deb Oakes is, so no one's gonna read, she's not coming on, no one's reading for her?
No.
And about Cynthia Sharp? Do you know if she's?
Cynthia's coming as far as I know. She was gonna zoom in. She'll probably pop in at the last minute here.
Okay, because I think that's all we're missing. And what about, and Jackie might be late, right?
Yeah, Jackie might be late. Yeah. if she
Is Vicki
gets
here?
around. Sorry?
Is Vicki with us?
Yeah, I haven't seen Vicki yet either.
Yeah,
Vicki
sure.
Drybrow.
Vicki,
Yeah, I invited her to do a little Zoom duo here, but she said she's going to show up at Char's.
yes, she's here at Char.
Oh,
Oh, she's
good. Nice.
Good, good. All right.
And Dan, right?
Dan Biggs is there as well.
Apparently.
Yes.
Very good.
That's awesome.
I have my back to tell when they're coming in, so
Yeah.
I don't really know who's all here. Derek, I'm hoping you're okay with that for December. I thought because it's members' night, we won't do a time limit. Is that okay? I sort of thought that because it's members' night for December, so I thought, you know what?
Won't do a what? Sorry, Carl?
In December, it's the members' night, so there's we're not going to do a time limit on them.
Oh.
I thought
Okay.
just the way it's a fun night. It's a fun night to get together. Most people don't go over
Thank you.
more than
So,
It's a new one.
so it's going to be a free for all. We can just go for it on December, right?
yeah.
All right.
I'm hoping that I decided that. I hope that's okay.
Hi,
Sure,
Derek.
yeah.
Are you looking for me?
Yeah, we were.
Hi, Libby.
Hi, sweetie.
Char asked me to tell you that after we finish reading, we should wait the mic so Derek can talk to us.
Well, I'm about to do this poetry thing. This,
Everybody hear that?
I didn't catch the end of it.
All right. Thanks, Vicki. I'll reiterate that when we get going.
And what members thing is that, Derek?
Doing a test, a sound test.
Okay.
Check.
Hello, Cynthia.
Hi.
Hey, sound check.
Everyone.
Sounds good.
Hey,
Test,
Cynthia.
test. Can't hear. Ready? Test. What do you want me to talk about? A sound check.
I want to know about that December get
A
together.
sound check for Char.
Well, just 1 moment. We'll talk in a second.
This way? Okay. Is that better? Can you hear me? Before that, okay, I said that it would be great if you would stay at the mic after you finished reading so Derek can talk to you. Don't just read it and sit down. Is that okay? And that's it?
Okay. You asked about December there, Libby.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know, we decided to, instead of having a bunch of feature readers, we thought we'd just do a members night. So you can do a Christmas poem, whatever. Like, it's just a fun get together.
What date?
It is December the 15th, I think.
I think it's the 17th, isn't it?
I think so.
Cheers.
I was thinking too, Carl, you should give us an idea of timing, because I have a whole book I can read, you know, like, is it 10 minutes? You don't want to listen to me for 70 or 80 minutes.
Even if you say one
Around
poem,
10?
I have one poem that would take about 70 minutes to do.
There you go.
So what are we thinking, around 10 minutes instead of 5?
Yeah, 10 minutes probably max would be good, Joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carl opened a can of worms.
Yeah, because some of us could just go on forever.
That's true.
I admit it.
I thought that because we don't have that many people come, so I just thought if we don't have that many coming, whatever. So if you, yeah. So there you go. So 10 minutes, but if you can do up to 15 if you want.
Hey,
climbing. I'll be right back, Carl. Just got to go deal with something.
Sounded serious.
Hi, Mom. There's my mom, Dorothy and Earl Jones. Hi, Earl.
I'll be right back too.
Everyone's doing a pit stop before it starts. Is that what it is?
I'll get some water here.
All good.
Well, you might need to post something just so that, you know.
Oh, I forgot to look up our number.
Oh, I have 4 minutes to go get a glass of wine. Is that what's happening?
That's it.
Oh,
You
boy.
better hurry.
I'll be right back.
Spill a big glass.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, weird. Oh.
So hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
I've got welcome to Char's Landing, and welcome our friends out in the world via Zoom. Congratulations, thank you. And it's a big night, and I'm going to hand it over in a second. We're like 2 minutes to the hour. I have my iPhone here, and I'm going to turn it around and see if we can see who's in the room. Won't that be fun? There, okay. I'm just going to do the walk around to see the room, and then I'm going to let Carl take over, okay? Okay.
Where's the room? Oh, there's the room.
Where's the room?
Down at the bottom right.
I can't see it.
No.
Where is it?
Char's
We're waiting. There's Stephen. There's Laura.
Oh, there's the room.
Rory.
Where do you see the room?
Stephen.
Oh, I don't know.
Was that Winter?
Do you go to share the screen? Is that what you do? How do you get to see the room?
Using your iPhone.
If you look at where it says Char's chat window, so if you have a gallery view and there's lots of people in your gallery, you just go, oh, there
I
it
see
is.
the room now. I can see it.
There we go.
I can see it.
That's better. Is that Dan back there?
Yeah, it's Rory. Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Bob.
Say hey, Luminita.
That's Dan.
That's Dan.
That's Dan, yeah. Dan the man.
Hey, Dan.
Daddy boy. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Oh, there's Karl. Karl.
I'm on the count.
Mhm.
Oh, that's Carl.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. I've had the tour.
Looking
Ray
good.
Bronwyn in the back.
Okay. Electric Mermaid, Derek Hanebury. Sorry, Electric Mermaid MC. Derek Hanebury is a part of Alberni writer of poetry and fiction, creative nonfiction, taught writing here at North Island College for many years. His latest book is Both Sides Now. It's a collaboration of short fictions with two of his past students. Upcoming solo collaboration of entitled Something Else Altogether will be coming out this fall. Go ahead, Derek.
Thank you, Karl. And I guess we can't say my latest is Both Sides Now anymore because my latest now is AL-BER-NI-OL-OG-Y, which we're going to celebrate tonight as we launch it out into the world, put our baby out into the world. It's an exciting time. So it's really great to have so many of our authors joining us to read from their parts in the book, and others just tuning in to listen, and other open micers to share. So fantastic. Thank you for coming, everyone. Welcome to Electric Mermaid. And this is coming to you from Char's Landing, courtesy of Char's Zoom technology. She is the master behind everything. And we're ever grateful to her for her technical expertise and her incredible place called Char's Landing, where some of you are gathered and the rest of us are zooming into. I just want to say we're coming to you from the unceded territory of the Hutchinson and Sishat First Nations. We're grateful to them for sharing their ancestral lands with us in this beautiful place we call home. And we are also coming from all over the province and from far afield, from Ontario and Kelowna and other places. So it's great to have you joining us here. And just mention for those who feel so inclined that Char's Landing can always do with a little bit of financial assistance for all that she does and continues to do. So e-transfer at charslanding.com for those of you who are Zooming. And we'll put that into the chat. Maybe Karl, you could type that into the chat. For those of you who might not be as used to Zooming, there is a chat box available down at the bottom bar. You'll see the word chat. If you just click on that, chat box will come up. And you can drag that chat box over to the side and have it visible there while things are going on. And in there, you can private message people if you want to say something personal about their writing, or you can send it to everyone. It gives you the option to choose who you send it to. Okay, and Libby, you're looking great. It's just you were big on my screen for a while there. I don't know what happened. Anyway, I've had a crazy day. I'm in the middle of trying to get my place ready to sell. The heat pump broke down and the fireplace won't start.
Oh shit!
Hey, we're hanging in there. Actually, we've got enough heat to be comfortable, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, it's Murphy's Law, right? Everything happens all at once. So I think, what have I missed? Oh, I've missed saying that we are a diverse community of writers and readers, and we like to think of ourselves as inclusive of all writers, no matter what stage of development they're at. It's just a respectful environment to share our work and hopefully inspire each other to continue to write and create more and do what brings us joy. The only thing we don't tolerate here, of course, is hate speech or anything that veers towards that. So I know we did have the N-word used once in the past, and we weren't happy about that. And I think that we can steer clear of that and still have lots of good things to say. So I'm not going to drag this on for too much longer. We're going to have a couple of open mic readers first to get us started, warmed up. And then we're going to go into the book launch for AL-BER-NI-OL-OG-Y, and we'll go through those readers a little bit more quickly because they're limited to 4 minutes each. So Without further ado, our first reader for this evening is going to be Joy Sheldon, who's zooming in to us from the Cowichan Valley. And what are you going to share with us tonight, Joy?
Hi, and thanks for letting me go first. Another reading from my memoir, Cowichan Kid. And it's going to be, I usually do seasonal, and it's at the very end, it tells about what we did with the laundry in the fall and winter. And it's called My Old Nemesis Wringer Washing Machine. I hope you can make out that picture. It's a little bit small.
Looks like R2-D2.
Yeah, it felt like it at the time too. And I think every Saturday for about 10 years, she got strangled to death, you know, wearing a scarf around her neck. Her neck broke before her mother could release the rollers. A dire warning from my mother. Just what I needed to hear when I'm hauling a humongous basket of clothes down the creaky old basement stairs. My naughty brother, of course, had to remind me of the cautionary tale my mother told us nearly every time I pulled laundry duty. I guess she thought it would ensure that we were careful whenever we were near that potentially lethal wringer. It did. I had nightmares for months obsessing about this helpless little kid sucked blue-faced by the neck into the giant maw. The wringer, yeah. That innocent, creamy white, virginal looking gizmo that squatted above the huge mechanical wash tub. The first thing my mother did was show me how to release the cumbersome safety catch at the side of the old monster. You actually had to bang it rather hard with your hand to get it to release. There were two ringers that looked like two giant rolling pins stuck one on top of the other. But believe me, you didn't want to get your finger or any other part of your anatomy stuck between them when feeding in the clothes. Every Saturday for years, I was a victim of the laundry process. And I actually sat one afternoon and figured it out, and it took 13 steps. Luckily, they're short steps, and I might have even missed a couple. Number 1, fill the humongous tub with hot water from the large stoneware sink on the wall. Add detergent. 2, press the large lever on the side to set it spinning and mix up the soap. 3, separate the whites from the darks. Set heavily soiled work clothes aside. I won't take time tonight to tell you what I had to do with the work clothes. 4, add the clothes and replace the round-shaped rubberized lid. For safety, it also wouldn't be nice to get an anatomy part wrapped around the imposing agitator in the middle either. 5, if a load of whites, add bluing, which supposedly gave the whites a bluish glow, signifying to the neighbors that yours were whiter than anyone else's. Let clothes agitate for 20 minutes or so. I don't remember if the tub had a timer or if I just stopped it when I felt that the clothes had cooked enough. 6, set it to drain. A reverse process wherein the water was sucked back into the hose and down the sink drain. Refill tub with cold rinse water. Let it swish around some more. 7, drain again. 8, find the big old heavily stained wooden spoon standing in the corner. Use it to lift out the clothes one by one. 9, feed them instead of your finger into the wringer and between the huge rollers. If you missed on the first attempt, the items fell back into the tub and had to be retrieved again. 10, pull clothes out the back and throw into the waiting laundry basket. If perchance you fed more than one item in at a time, the rollers would go bumpity bump and you'd have to smash the safety release. Remove the offending items and throw them back into the tub. You'll need both hands to reset the ringers and reclasp the release catch. Start over. 11, when all is finished, drain the washer out through the hose, then wipe out both the washer and the laundry sink with the convenient and often smelly rag hanging on the sink for that purpose. 12, push, pull, or drag the loaded basket up the steep basement stairs unless you could bribe or threaten little brother into doing it. 13, haul out onto the back landing and peg onto the line one by one with wooden clothes pegs. Pegging clothes on a line has become a forgotten art, which I won't go into here. Pray that the day is not too windy or you'll be out at night picking the clothes out of the muddy garden plot. In winter or on rainy days, I had to hang the sopping clothes on a rather unique overhead drying rack. On the basement ceiling hung the rack. It possessed the unique capability of being able to move up and down. This feat was accomplished by means of a long cord which hung at the side. I would carry the heavy basket of wet clothes over to the rack and lower it by means of the cord. After hanging the items carefully on 4 or 5 rack runners, I would pull the cord again and the rack would return to its nest in the ceiling. Once the clothes were dry, I'd lower it again. A rather ingenious innovation my father had rigged up for drying laundry above the old barrel furnace on wet days. The whole process took up my entire Saturday morning for many years, especially if there were more than one wash tub full. Unless it was an exceptionally fine day and we could convince my dad to let us troll the highway, hauling an old gunny sack to hunt for pop and beer bottles, which gave us enough money to go to the 35-cent Saturday matinee at the Odeon Theatre in Duncan.
Awesome. I remember those ringer washers too. I didn't ever have to use it. Thank God I was too young. But yeah, my God, the time my mother spent over that thing, crazy. Eh? Yeah.
I'm just thankful I didn't have to do the washboard. I think it was washboards before that, and in a bucket. I had a girlfriend that had to do a lot of diapers in one of those.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did a bit of that. Lived on a fire tower for a while, and that was, yeah, that's a lot of work too. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, thanks for that reading, Joy. That was great. Great way to kick us off there, taking us back to the past, way back. And we're going to go to Kamal Parmer now, the Poet Laureate of Nanaimo, who's joining us on Zoom. Hello, Kamal. How are you this evening?
Yeah, thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. And yeah, I'm from Nanaimo. Well, safe as yet, but a couple of roads have been washed away and we are literally cut off from Victoria. They say there's been a big breach out there. So you know, things are not that good. But anyway, we should keep our fingers crossed. So first of all, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to read my humble contribution to the Poetic Muse. And also heartiest congratulations for the book launch of this wonderful book. I'm just waiting to lay my hands on it. So I'm going to read 3 poems. I was told by Karl that I could get in 3 poems from my book, What Does the Wind Say? It's at Mobius Bookstore and a couple of other bookstores here in Nanaimo. So the first poem is, I Sought You. I tried to find you in the soft hush of the rain. I sought you among the spring burst of daffodils that smiled with their sunny faces towards me. I sought you in the stillness of the evening when the first star twinkled through the twilight haze. I sought you among the myriads of solar systems scattered in the clatter of the sky. How could I ever find you in the vast cosmos where time stands still and life is a mere figment of a dream? I sought you in the stillness of dawn when pale slivers of light steal through the fading darkness. I sought you over the deep blue waters of the swirling seas, over snow-slathered, razor-edged mountain peaks. I sought you over mist-wrapped valleys where the wind sings to the soaring trees. Never did I give up till I found you hidden inside myself as a stranger. Thank you. Next poem is What Remains Now. Fall slips away, the raw air slices through leafless branches and early flirtation with winter. Snow drifts closing in on us. Soon the temperatures plummet and the somber sky smells heavy snowfall, falling like winnowed cotton that freezes as black ice overnight. Memories of past winters come and go through curls of steam rising from my coffee mug. I take slow sips, each sip lingering in my mouth. Does it remind me of how life was last year and the year before that? Do I walk back in time and replay life's video to find myself as a shy schoolgirl in red ribbon pigtails? Oh, seems another life. A lost chapter? I take a deep breath. What remains now? This moment, this minute, this second, to hold till it slips away forever. Okay. My last poem is actually not from the book, but I just wrote it a few days ago, and not even kind of really, polished, but here it goes. It's titled Dawn. Quiet as a mole, a faint light steals through a veil of cloud, unwrapping the darkness of the night. It is morning, still and somber. Not a sound is heard. A breeze stirs up, the air laced with the smell of lavender growing wild. A thrush springs from the overgrown grass, smells the day. Nose dives back into the shivering blades of sage leaves and is seen no more. Rosy glow of a slick dawn gently fans across the cloud-mottled sky. The landscape bathed in luminous light, as if there was never a night. A high tide of starlings rolls in, silhouettes of gold, dips low as if taking a bow, soaring into oblivion. I watch, unblinking. Thank you very much.
Love it, Kamal, as always. Thank you.
Thank
Love your
you.
imagery. Love your nature imagery and the way you pull us into those scenes. Just gorgeous.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay. All right, we're going to slide into the big launch now for AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY. And for those of you who might not have got a glimpse of the cover earlier, I don't know if you can see it there. Yeah, that's what it looks like. This is a big collaborative effort, this one. So huge thanks to RCN Media, of course, who are the ones who published it in the end, and Colton and his editorial staff donated a lot of time and hours to do the layout and get that one all right. And of course, my co-editor, Jackie Carmichael, was instrumental in getting the ball rolling and helping to collect this. But the biggest thanks, of course, has to go to the authors, so many of whom have joined us here tonight. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart for contributing. This was meant to be a collective anthology that reflected various aspects of the Alberni Valley, and people came at that from all different angles. So I think it's wonderful in the array of colors of the valley that we get, and different things that get focused on along the way. So really excited to see this one come to fruition. And of course, it was a democratic vote that determined the money from this anthology was going to go towards the Alberni Hospice. So Alberni Valley Hospice is going to receive all of the profits from this. And Colton was saying, by the way sales are going, he's hoping to be able to give them a check for about $10,000 by Christmas time. So that's huge, and money that's going to go to a good cause, and for all of us, who knows when we're going to need those services at the end of our lives. So we can be grateful that we did a little bit to help that service stay alive and keep going. So what can I say? AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY, it's got poetry in there, it's got fiction in there, it's got creative nonfiction, and we've kind of just grouped it by genre, starting off with poetry. And so we're just going to take a slow journey through the book with the authors that are here tonight, starting with Ian Cognito from Nanaimo, who's zooming in with us. And for those of you who don't know Ian from his work in the literary scene in Nanaimo, and his publishing through Repartee Press. And of course, we launched his Battered Bones and Bookends, or Battered Bones and Bookends, yeah, the anthology on aging not so long ago here. So welcome, Ian, and you're going to share a couple of poems with us tonight. We're really glad you could join us, so take it away.
Yes, and can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay. Thanks to Derek and Jackie and RCN Media for bringing us all together in print and in person. And just as a correction, I'm actually I proudly like to call myself a Yellow Point, citizen of Yellow Point, which really does not have specific citizens. But anyhow, that's where I actually live. So the two poems that I'll be reading tonight, which coincidentally are also in the collection, are both poems that virtually wrote themselves. And for these, I consider myself just to have been nature's stenographer. So the first is called 1,000 to 1. A sudden gust sends maple keys, thousands of them, whirly birding down around us in a flurry of wondrous precipitation. Nature delights again, is at her aerodynamic best, with yet another of her cast of thousands pageants. A lone dragonfly floats among the cascading keys, almost indistinguishable. He would be lost to the eye were it not for his hovering presence there within the twirling surge. But then, sure enough, he takes off, zooms on oscillating wings along a vertical arc in one singular act of distinction. And that was actually quite magical for me because I didn't see the dragonfly at first. I just saw a whole bunch of maple keys, and there was one of the maple keys that just wasn't falling. It was just kind of hovering there. And then I realized it was a dragonfly. So that was a very magical moment for me. And for those of us who celebrate the magic in nature, that's just a small magical moment from my own experience. The next one is called Panning Vision. And it's another example of me becoming nature's stenographer. Panning Vision. Mergansers cut through the mere surface of this placid pond, pixelating forest doppelgangers reflected within. Flat screen trees and bushes dissolve into a million refracted moments, which zigzag in and out of focus on infinite ripples. These ducks are impervious to the possibilities offered in this kaleidoscopic display. Their joy is in movement and the prospect of floating bugs or some fishy treat just beyond. Thank you.
Super, super. Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for the correction there on Yellow Point. I'll remember that for the future. Yeah.
People always say Nanaimo, and if I'm lucky, they'll say Cedar.
Yeah, heading in the right direction anyway.
Yeah.
All right, super. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing those poems and for all you do for the literary scene on Vancouver Island here. It's great. Appreciate it. And you're partnering with RCN Media now, apparently, right? With your repartee press.
Yeah, RCN Media is sort of taking over the wider distribution of the repartee press titles, and I'm still doing, direct marketing and sort of the more artisanal part of it, which is what I like. Mm-hmm. So I'm very grateful that RCN Media has consented to take on the stuff I don't really like.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. So, or that I'm not that good at actually, but anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, good to recognize your strengths and weaknesses and go with that. That's awesome.
That's right.
Okay, thanks again, Ian. All right, pleasure now to introduce our next reader, and that's Mr. Winter Darby, who's coming to us live from Char's Landing. And Winter, for those of you who don't know him, is also an accomplished visual artist as well as a great poet, and has put out a couple of books of poetry on his own, and is always a treat to listen to. Winter, it's all yours. Welcome, man, and thank you for contributing to the anthology.
So, hello, Port Alberni and beyond. I've just got a short poem to contribute for today, inspired by Third Avenue, place some of you might be familiar with. Third Avenue. Yesterday, I found my favorite smell. I went beneath the magnolia trees on Third Avenue after dusk, when the blazing colors of the day had cooled in the husky whisper of the night wind. Dark green shadows folded above me then, outlined by a pregnant moon's loving silver gleam. I felt something move and looked up to see the sleek trunk dressed all in silver bark like a nightgown, stretching high above me. Around its leafy waist and fingers were twined twinkling golden lights on an electric rope, Christmas lights still up in May. Then a warm, heavy movement came from the rustling leaves, and the cooling silken weight of flower petals fell around me. I inhaled, and the scent filled me as if I were yearning to rise skywards. In a timeless second, I paused beneath this tree, growing from the middle of an echoing concrete street. This tree, which passed her hours, watching the people walk by in daylight and singing the rain good night at dusk. Footsteps came then, and I laughed, holding the memory of those flowers carefully, lest the voice of a stranger spill the moment to the ground before I had stored it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Winter. That you were just going to share the one tonight, I guess, eh?
Yeah, that's all I got. And thank you to Derek and Jacqueline and Colton for making this project possible.
Thanks for being a part of it, Winter. Glad to have you on board, man. Okay. Looks like the next reader out of the anthology is me. So I'm going to read you a short poem called Because You Live in Port Alberni. I think I did read this a while back there at Char's, but it's been a while. Because you live in Port Alberni, you buy an artificial sun lamp just to survive the first winter. But at least you're not likely to shovel anything you're not planning to plant rhodos in come February or March. Because you live in Port Alberni, you wear jeans or anything Helly Hansen on your most extravagant date and don't lose points with anyone. Because you live in Port Alberni, you think the pulp mill still stinks like money. Though these days it smells more like small change than a wad of 50s. Because you live in Port Alberni, your 20-foot fishing boat with the 85-horse Merc can slide off at the corner of Roger and Stamp, and 6 burly men will appear out of nowhere and lift it back onto its trailer. Because you live in Port Alberni, you're never more than a couple of blocks from a cold beer and wine store or a pot shop or both. And some nights you're grateful for that. Because you live in Port Alberni, your husband could have died 15 years ago from a widowmaker, and a crew of 20 loggers will still show up one Saturday to replace the shakes on your roof for free. Because you live in Port Alberni, you pause the first Wednesday of every month to confirm that this is a test, only a test of the tsunami warning system. And your last thought at night is always, how much gas is in the truck? Because you live in Port Alberni, you always lock your car, but you leave the front door to your house open up until the time you go to bed. Because you live in Port Alberni, you always wonder if the sun is shining in Parksville, and if this is just a test, only a test of your gray sky endurance factor. Because you live in Port Alberni, you contemplate moving to Parksville, but don't, because you'd miss your friends. Because you live in Port Alberni, you don't mind that the guy driving the garbage truck will draw a bigger pension than the teacher who taught your child to spell the word union. Because you live in Port Alberni, your neighbor will offer you half his apples because his tree almost touches your fence. And yes, because you live in Port Alberni, S-P-R-O-A-T spells sprout, and the gray bridge over the Somas River will always and forever be orange. And let me remind you, for those who don't know already, if you're looking about where to pick up an anthology, we put it in the chat box earlier, but it's www.rcn.media.com/AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY, and that'll get you there. So our next reader is coming on board here, and that would be my dear friend, Libby Moran, and she's looking lovely as always. Good evening, Libby. She's gonna share with
Is
us.
getting unmuted for a change.
There we go, there we go. You're always better when you're unmuted. So Libby's gonna share with us a couple of poems, I believe, and take it away, Libby, it's all yours.
Thank you. It's nice to see everybody. And like everyone else has mentioned, this is wonderful. RCN Media and everyone did a wonderful job. And I'm very thrilled about hospice being the recipient. I'm going to read from the two that are in the book. The first one, Southport neighborhood. Cedar, fir, and spruce hail their salutations proudly, standing in the east where the sun scrapes their heads and draws with it up and over, moist with night. Right through the reluctant clinging fog, the forest's breath, dank from tilth, rises far above the broadcasting gulls, their complaints never ending. While on the heels of dawn, the ever dutiful quadruped ritual forms at the forest's edge. These domesticated beasts know they have arrived far too late to the warm blood party. No prey to flush, nothing fresh for their tinned meat mouths, their soft kibbled gums. They resort to depositing in territorial defiance. Fetid calling cards in protest in a desperate claim, while their two-legged companions, shit blind, exhale a small fog of their own, flick and turn away. Interlaced in this tempo, the dependable bus whirs and hums past, only the driver's face turns, he nods each and every time. Down the street, the sampling of small boats crouch, noses outward, trapped in driveways, dreaming of sea spray, of salty fish blood, all the while landlocked in this season of rain and fog with only a quad for company. Sometimes seductive scents waft into my yard, having no regard for fences, an olfactory announcement to the whole neighborhood, a promise of steak, the arrival of the lowly hot dog with the ever-present onion on its arm, the scorched sugar excitement of marshmallows. The subtle dusk in its muffled scent turns my yearning to the horizon west, where, framed by abalone skies through cedar, fir, and spruce, well above and beyond our transitional lives, the Grand Beaufort Range declares itself anchored and insular, a foil against disquietude of the human spirit. And at last, the night settles into place, while the tree frog delivers, as its privilege, the final comments on the day. And a shorty because I like going barefoot, even in the snow. It's called Shoes. I have thrown my shoes into the ocean. My brown bunions gasp liberation, whisper in harmony with ankle spurs grinding. They harmonize a song of revenge for decades of captivity, while my wobbly legs twist and turn until they cede to pull in, flex, and thrust forward. Riding along, my calloused heel cracks a grin, imagines a boot to the bourgeois groin of Jimmy Choo, Patrick Cox, Christian Labotin, synchronous death blows to the fuck me shoes. My pins dance me down to where the sand meets the sea. Toes flex, open, curl, open, coaxing me to stumble, walk, stride, jog, run unabashedly into the waves' welcoming embrace. Thank you.
Thank you, Libby. I still laugh every time I hear that poem. There's so many good lines in there. Super, thank you, thank you. All right, our next reader up is Mr. Steve.
Yes.
How are you, man? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know Stephen is a Port Alberni writer. Stephen Novick is Port Alberni writer and the MC of Words on Fire for many years, actor, entertainer. But tonight he's our spoken word poet, I believe, who's going to give us a couple of poems out of the anthology. So welcome, Steve. The mic is all yours, man.
All right. Thank you very much, Derek. I just want to say a bit of thank you to RCM Media for letting the proceeds of this book go to the Alberni Valley Hospice Society, because this past summer, my father needed their services. And so thank you very much for all those at the Hospice Society and the Ty Watson House for your generous help at my father's urgent need. I'd like to do 3 poems if I can, starting with Easily Inspired Limerick. There's a sound in Port Alberni's gloom that can quite easily rattle the tomb. The men cross the canal, think the landscape banal, and go 3, 2, 1, boom. Oh, always with the short ones. Sandpaper currency. Just a quick note about this one. I would like to point out that this second poem I want to read, entitled Sandpaper Currency, was written right here in Char's Landing. I examine a sand dollar with my hands. Wow, that's rough. Coarse, abrasive. I wonder if 2 sand dollars rubbing against each other in my pocket will erode their worth. Wow, that's rough. But to think that dollars are what we use to exchange value with each other, this commodified society equates value with the numbers on the price tag, then what price nature? All the beauty and ruin within, all the recycled and regenerated wealth of riches awaiting us at our senses. What price for an eco-consciousness? And that old saying about money? Wow, that's rough. Thank you. And my third contribution to our wonderful Alberni-ology is entitled The Moment, which I did write at a Alberni Valley Bulldogs game. And I told my friend at the game, he said, they scored a goal after I wrote this poem. And he said, well, write more poems, damn it. The moment. I want this building to explode. I want this building crowd to erupt. Oh God, do I ever want this? Get this feeling of relief over with. A whistle won't do it. No siree. The only thing I need right now is to hear the loudest yeah you have ever heard. Turn on that red light, blow off the siren. Oh, the anticipation is killing me. I want to see the boys raise their sticks. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I just about hear the crowd scream, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. I got nothing riding on this game except some hometown pride. I'm telling you, a whistle won't do it. No siree. The only thing I need right now, the lead light comes on, and that sirens blowing there's that crowd crescendo. Yeah! Okay.
Thank you, Stephen. Always good energy, man. Yep. I don't know what was going on with the camera there. You were freezing up. Unfortunately, it's not going to look great on the recording, but you still sounded super, man. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, Ed. Our next reader then is going to be Victoria Roscoe-Roumanis, who's coming in on Zoom. And Victoria is a local Port Alberni gal. Worked for many years at West Haven here in Port Alberni. Are you still working, Victoria, or have you fully retired now?
It sort of kicked me out last year. I didn't feel safe there with an underlying health condition. So much as I love my job, I retired, but then the whole world seems to be crumbling in all directions.
Yeah.
But fantastic to be here tonight and with everybody and to listen to everybody's work and just love the book too. It's great. So yeah, retirement is something else. A story for another day. So closure on a warm September evening. The sky is wearing a coat of radical red, changing each second in a glorious light show with a backdrop of blue and silver sky. Drops of water colored by the mighty palette, reflected on the gentle ripples of the lake. Sun sliding down to rest behind Mount Klitz's black velvet silhouette. Silver blue skies set ablaze with tongues of brilliant red and burnt orange, reflecting out across the lake, dancing on the ripples, until the dark under my feet breaks their path. Now it's here, now it's gone, changing as fast as the doused flames of a campfire. In an instant, darkness envelops the water. And this next one is my favorite because I absolutely love steam trains and I love our railway and I love two-spot. So this is dedicated to two-spot. Love of steam train. I hear his powerful rumble in the distance and my heart goes out to meet him. He is easy to spot, veiled in a wreath of white steam. Metal wheels and tracks set a rhythm that echoes in my soul. His proud whistle signals both warning and greeting, comfort and security build. A loved one returning, briefly enfolding me in his strong arms, then reluctantly letting go, leaving me to watch until the horizon is free of his silhouette. His passing stirs deep emotions. It seems as if he calls, "Come with me, we'll travel together. Come with me, we'll have fun together. Come with me, I'll love you forever." And I lived with these for many years, living on Sprout Lake. They seem like friends chugging around the corner. Mars water bombers. Sounds of Mars bomber engines resonate and bounce from mountain to mountain around Sprout Lake, like a giant bee on a mission. Like giant bees on a mission. They scoop up water to fill the hold, then forward throttle, heavy red wings are lifted skyward, barely clearing the surrounding forest, taking off to douse the fire somewhere not too far off. Silence, swiftly broken moments later by the sound of these super birds repeating their fire drill again and again. On the last flyby, the hatches open, the not needed cargo is dropped over Dog Mountain, signifying a job well done. The fire must be out. Our security team head back to base. One more success story to tell. And the last one, silver circles on the lake today, on Sprout Lake today. Looking down at the lake from my window, I see there are circles on the lake today. Beautiful silver concentric circles flowing out until they dissipate. The lake's surface, the artist's canvas, is suddenly bare. I wait several minutes for the creative ones to reappear through the water's ripples. My patience is rewarded as shimmering, glimmering circles reappear. But the light and wind have changed. The water's surface is choppy now. I see the mother diving with her 7 little ducklings. There are no silver circles to draw my eye as they perfect their skillful maneuvers, only little brown feathered bundles bobbing on toned gray water. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Beautiful poems as always, and yeah, lots of memories around the Mars bombers and the two spot for a lot of people. I think they've been here for so long. I can't remember who told me once they had moved away to the interior somewhere in the Okanagan, I think, and one day they heard the roar of engines and they said, that sounds awfully familiar, and they went out, the Mars were flying over, and they just were crying, standing there watching these planes go. It's amazing how attached the valley and how identified we became with those big beasts and what they could do. Anyway, thanks for sharing.
They chugged round past my house and did their maneuvers and warming up. So yeah, it was quite a sight every day.
Yeah, very, very powerful. When they flew overhead, I mean, they vibrated everything in the house and in your body. Amazing. Anyway, great. Thanks. Great reading, and great to have you here tonight. And thank you so much for contributing to the anthology.
Everybody's done. Yeah, lovely.
All right. Our next reader up then is Cynthia Sharp, and Cynthia is coming to us from the Lower Mainland, which is kind of almost like an island right now. It's not that far different from Vancouver Island. You're all cut off from everywhere, so that's a little bit different. But glad you weathered the storm okay, Cynthia, and so nice you could join us tonight and share your poem about Cathedral Grove with us. And also, yeah, just great that you can contribute to the anthology and do your part here.
Yeah, thank you so much for allowing me to be in this beautiful book. Alberni is one of my favorite places to read and to do poetry. So this is my poem in the book, Cathedral Grove. Persate showers bejewel the night. Leaf lanterns glow under stars. Violet flowers line an evergreen cathedral. Rainforest lit up. We lie on the cool earth, our own mythology. So short but sweet. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this.
Very sweet. Thank you, Cynthia, for that. That was beautiful. Yeah, Cathedral Grove, another place dear to our hearts for sure. And it was so good when you came to read here at Char's. We really enjoyed that, reading that night. And I know I took a couple of your books home with me and have enjoyed flipping through the pages ever since. So good on you. Keep writing. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our next reader is Joanna Streetley, and she's coming to us from Tofino, I believe. I think you're there tonight, are you, Joanna?
Yeah. I'm just I'm hoping my Wi-Fi lasts because I'm on the float house and we have really, really terrible Wi-Fi, especially at low tide. So
I didn't know the tides affected the Wi-Fi too, but
well, they do if it's on a relay stick on a dock post somewhere.
Okay, you sink down. Got it. Okay. All right.
The things you don't think of, right?
No, that's for sure. Yeah. So anyway, great to have you here, and thanks for contributing to the anthology. And for those who don't know, Joanna is past poet laureate of Tofino. I don't know, how long have you been living out on the coast there now?
Oh, it's about 30 years.
Yeah,
it's been a while. Yeah.
Good. All right.
But I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of the anthology. I was at first, when Janice said that you had an anthology going, I thought, well, I'm not from Port Alberni. I'm a bit of an interloper here. She said, that Port Alberni poem you wrote, that would be perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
But I have to say, when I read that one, I thought, oh yeah, that's what poets do, right? Poets take things that we see all the time, and then they focus on them in a way that we feel like we're seeing them for the first time. And I had that experience when I read yours, because I thought, yeah, of course, I do that, where I see, oh, they look like they're in from Tofino.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it into the language so perfectly. So I'll let you know
how it is when you've been like following an RV and you're thinking, oh my God, they're going so slow, and oh, I don't have patience and whatever. And then I went to Newfoundland in an RV, and then I was the RV, and I was so grateful that people were patient with me. But I've also thought the same thing about Port Alberni, where Tofino people come to town. I'm sure we're like, really, people roll their eyes and know that it's us because of our weird behaviors. because, you know, it's kind of like, oh, wow, we can change lanes. We can do this, we can do that. So, so anyway, I'll just quickly read this. But before I do, I just wanted to congratulate you on the anthology. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Thank you to you and Kathy and RCN and everybody for this donation, because I think doing an anthology as a donation is for a charity. I think that's just wonderful. You know, it's just a really feel good kind of thing. So anyway, my poem, Wet Coasters Come to Town. You know us by our fog pale faces, hems of rust lacing the underskirts of our cars. You watch us, gopher-cheeked, drooling into Tim Hortons coffee, brand new dentistry lurking behind puffed lips. We drive in sweaty circles, hunt shade as sun liquefies asphalt in the Bilo parking lot, rubber boots shaken off, wool sock lint still lodged between our toes. You know us at the lake. We brought our wetsuits just in case. Kids white beneath 50 SPFs of oatmeal, UV blocking sunsuits, dogs lapping the mysterious salt-free liquid. You wait behind us at Naysguards while we load up on blueberries, carrots, peaches, corn with a cooler to keep them in, though the berries are devoured before we even reach the car. You slam on the brakes as we ogle dogwoods, magnolias, cherries, Mount Arrowsmith white with snow, go the wrong way through the co-op car wash, change lanes because we can. Oh, you know us in port, our fog pale faces and small town ways. You roll your eyes and sigh and suffer the wet coasters come to town. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. That was great. Even better when you read it. It really brought it to life. Fantastic. All right. Well, we hope you'll keep coming to town, though. We enjoy it when you come, and come to Char's Landing sometime when you come and enjoy some live entertainment there. Be super. Our next reader is going to be none other than Mr. Dan Biggs, who I had the pleasure of teaching many years ago when he was a mere fledgling writer. Now he's a published author with a novel out there, and he's going to share a portion of, we're moving to the fiction section of the anthology actually now. So Dan's going to share a little bit of that with us, which I think has some real basis in reality, but he's made it a little more colorful as he's been known to do, being a colorful character as he is. So welcome, Dan. The mic is all yours, man.
Really good, and congratulations everybody for putting this together. Story I'm going to read is Roof Moss. On Saturday afternoon a few months back, my wife and I stood on our front lawn looking up at our roof. See that, she said, pointing, looking at me, then the roof. That's the shady side, I said. There's moss everywhere. In some spots it covers the entire roof. You have to do something about it. It's only the shady half, and scraping it off will damage the shingles. You have to do something. It makes us look lazy, like we don't care about our house. Look at our neighbors. I looked at the houses on both sides. The roof were clean, not a speck of moss. I went on to tell her about an old friend, Jim. One winter, he climbed up on his roof to clean ice out of the gutters and slipped off, and how his wife came home and found him lying unconscious in the snow. He came close to breaking his neck. Instead, he just got lucky and only broke his jaw. Had to have it wired up. He was never the same again. Never the same, she repeated. He lost energy to work on his house? No, I mean his jaw was never the same. It was crooked. He couldn't eat properly and his smile didn't look right. She shook her head, kept looking up at the moss. It could be a green roof, I said. A green roof? You know, the kind they put on the new hydro building. She shook her head again, more like flicking, then stopped. You mean the one where the grass dried out and died? I don't want our roof to look like a vacant lot. Yeah, maybe get a few old tires and some rusty tin, I said with a mordant tone. This is our home. It's not performance art. Come on, I was serious about the green roof. They're all the rage, you know, carbon sinks. We could be the first in the neighborhood. This isn't a question of tidiness or conformity. It's one of aesthetics and doing our part to help the environment. She shot me one of those "you lazy asshole" looks and said, "A sink? Like a drain? Besides, aren't green roofs flat?" A few days later, I phoned my dad. "Get some powdered laundry soap with bleach. Sprinkle it along the peak. The rain will wash it into the moss and poison it. Don't do it on a rainy day," he told me. When I told her that all I had to do was sprinkle soap and not scrape and scrub, she replied, "Sounds like something you can handle. Make sure I'm home when you do it." "Why? If you fall?" "Oh, so you can call the ambulance?" I interrupted, trying to make a crooked smile. That look again. One afternoon I was alone. The wind was not blowing and I was not raining, so it was just gray and cloudy. Might rain later, I thought. So I pulled out my own aluminum extension ladder out of the shed, and under the gaze of 4 crows perched on the hydro line across the street, I ascended the roof, carrying a big box of powdered Tide worth $19.99 at Quality Foods. I hoisted the Tide onto the roof. The angle of the roof made it hard to get over the ladder. I had extended it a little too far. I lifted my right leg around the ladder and then swung my left and the rest of the body over it. Mid-swing, my pant leg caught on the rails, and I willed my body over onto the roof. I cleared the ladder with only my leg hanging over, but the ladder had become unbalanced and started sliding down the edge of the roof. I desperately tried to get hold of it, but lying on my back, it was out of reach. I could only watch as it slid by and then listen to the clang as it hit the ground. Now what, I thought. I thought about calling out, but felt like a fool and no doubt looked like one. I didn't need help from any of my clean roof conformist neighbors anyway. One of the crows squawked. It was about 9:30 in the morning and I knew the mail delivery would come soon. A little embarrassing, but all I had to do was attract his attention and he would put the ladder back up. After a long 20 minutes, I saw him burdened with his bags, trudging his way up the road, going from one neighbor's house to another. As he approached my driveway, I waved. No response. I called out, not too loud, "Excuse me, sir." Again, nothing. "I could use some help here," I said a little louder. Nothing. I noticed white wires of an iPod hanging from his ears and his head bobbed up and down, and he never looked up from the ground. That day we didn't get mail, and he just kept on walking, past my driveway and on to the next. No one else was outside. I went unheard. Then I heard the rattle of a small engine, a scooter, and remembered that every second day the old fella down the hill delivered free newspapers. Today was my lucky day. It was the second weekday and a second chance. But I had just learned from the mail carrier the old fellow would be watching the road, not looking up, and he would not hear me over the noise of the engine. How was I going to get his attention? Just as soon as the scooter entered the driveway, I pushed the box of Tide off the roof. It landed hard on the asphalt, breaking apart, sending up a cloud of white powder. He stopped his scooter, looked up, I waved, and as he turned the engine off, it backfired and the percussive pop sent the watching crows in flight, flapping off over the rooftop. He took off his blue helmet. "Could you help me out?" I said, pointing down to the ladder. He smiled and lightly shook his head and walked over to the ladder, lifted it back up and to rest on the overhang and held it steady as I climbed down. "How long have you been up there?" he asked. Not long. Good thing I picked a day when you deliver." He smiled again and walked back to his scooter. I followed and he handed me a paper. "Thanks again. Maybe you should wait until someone is home to help you in case this happens again." I nodded. I needed more soap anyway. He fired up his scooter and was off. As I swept up the $20 worth of powder, I looked up at the roof. A vision of Jim's crooked smile flitted through my mind. The clouds parted and the new rays of sunlight made the moss lightly lushy green, bright dollops of green on a black surface that could have been the first algae growing in the primordial hydrocarbon goo. A robin landed, tilted its head to a mote of moss and picked out an insect. Then it flew off, flapping and bounding over the morning air. From the sun's warmth, A misty steam rose up and shrouded the roof in an almost translucent haze that fractured the light into red, green, and yellow. A sloped green roof, I thought. Wait until she learns that we're on the cutting edge of the green revolution.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you so much for that, man. Brought back memories. Yeah, the old days. So grateful for you to contributing to the anthology there, and hope your writing is going well these days. And soon maybe we can catch up and you know, have tea and chat.
Yeah, sure.
Be nice.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks, Rory. Take care. All right, and our next reader, Jackie Carmichael, is free, having been held ransom by a sinkhole in Lanceville this afternoon. We're grateful you were able to make it, Jackie. My partner in crime here is the co-editor on this, and we were talking earlier about whose idea it was, and I had to give it over to you. I think you were the one that was the instigator for this anthology, because I couldn't remember, and you're the one that's more of a, you know, an instigator. I said I'm the follower. And so thanks for instigating, and thanks for all the hard work you did on this anthology. I mean, we could not have done it without you, that's for sure. So you're going to share with us some of your reading tonight, and we're looking forward to hearing that. Which piece are you going to read for us?
The driving lesson.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Derek. And I'd like to thank Derek so much for shepherding this project all the way through. He really, I needed extra help getting through it just because of my gallbladder. It's my gallbladder's fault. So anyway, he was marvelous. And I also want to spread the credit around a little bit to Stephen Novick, who chatted. We chatted a long time ago about this. So it's really nice to see it come to fruition, and nice to see Stephen in there as well. Okay, so the driving lesson. One of the most bizarre memories from my youth puts me in the driver's seat of my father's old avocado green half-ton Ford truck, Dad on the bench seat beside me, my boyfriend in the passenger seat, a cozy group out for a Sunday drive on one of those glorious Alberni Valley days after a dip at the paper mill dam, my dad hoarse from barking at us whenever we ventured out past our waists. I'm practicing my new driving skills on a distant washboard gravel road out Beaver Creek Way. We'll take the long way around to DQ for a dip cone. A car comes around the bend toward us, and I ease the behemoth truck towards the right side of the road, just as a hapless horsefly is carried by a dusty gust of displaced air in through the window, down the neck of my shirt. I screech and thump my chest with my right hand, suavely, I thought, managing to steer the big green truck towards the side of the road. Whether for lack of faith in my skills as a fledgling driver or his own anxious nature, my father has reached the swift conclusion that I'm going to hit the ditch and we will all die. On the other hand, I am sure I have everything under control except for the darned horsefly. Slow down, hit the brake, hit the brake, Dad bellows in a tone usually reserved for when the maple leaves are behind and the clock's running out. When I don't slow down as fast as he'd like, my father decides to reach his left leg over and apply the brake for me. His foot snakes over and stomps down hard. The rest is something of a blur, but it goes like this. My dad, a fairly cautious man who drives a Caterpillar for a living building logging roads, has lost it. He's still yelling, hit the brake! The truck fishtails on the gravel, spins around 220 degrees, goes down into the ditch on the opposite side of the road, comes up and plows 2 deep furrows in a random lawn, splays open a telephone wire box so the wires are flailing colorfully in the breeze, misses a telephone pole by 3 inches, and surges forward in a repeated effort to mow down a clump of alder and drive over a little cliff. Hit the brake! Hit the brake! He hasn't stopped yelling, and the truck is still revving, determined to go, go, go. My dad is like a shell-shocked soldier transported to the battlefield in a moment of pure 90-proof panic. Neither of us can figure out why the truck is still trying to drive over the alder clump. Dad, look! I point to the floor of the pickup. My foot floored on the brake pedal. Beside it, his large foot is floored on the gas pedal. He embodies a riddle. What's red and white all over? His blue eyes bulge fury in a bloodshot field. I've never before or since seen anyone so close to a coronary without actually having one. Shaky, we get out of the car to survey the damage. This is worse than when he hit that deer on the road to Bamfield. The truck will need front end work, my dad says heavily. After a good pummeling in the ride of his life, the horsefly never did get a chance to sting me. As I give my shirt a shake, I am sure I will never drive again. We've dug deep ruts in someone's pristine lawn. That unhappy fellow was standing dumbstruck, trying to figure out why the phone went dead and where all the ruckus came from and who the hell these crazy drivers are. He has a short-necked beer in hand. Agape, he gazes goggle-eyed in mute wonder at the truck askew, the wires flapping at the telephone box, the gashed trenches through his gladiolas. "Oh, Stan, I didn't know you lived out here," my dad says to his foreman.
Thank you, Jackie. And I have the feeling that it has to be based on a true incident. I mean, I'm not prodding here. Yeah, I know. I learned to drive from my father too, and he was equally panicky. Yeah, we had our moments. Yeah. Anyway, that was beautifully told. Thanks so much. All right, we're going to move on then to a reader right there live at Char. We've got Vicki Drybrow standing by, and welcome, Vicki. Good to see you here tonight.
Thanks, Gert.
There you are. Okay, I can hear
I'm
you
here.
now. All right. So for those who don't know, Vicki lives here in Port Alberni. She's a local writer, a retired teacher as well of many years, and well-respected colleague and friend who co-authored Both Sides Now with myself and Libby Moreno not so long ago. So Vicki, I'm just going to turn it over to you. Are you going to share with us a shopping story, I guess, are we?
It looks that way, yeah.
Perfect. All right.
I just would like to thank Derek and Jackie and Colton for all the work they put into this anthology, and to all the writers as well. It's been so much fun to hear you reading from the book. And I'm so glad to hear that it's doing well and we'll have a fair piece of money to donate. So that's wonderful. The piece I'm going to read today is called Supermarket. I like to watch people in a supermarket. I do it all the time. I think you can tell a lot about people by the way they navigate their way from the front door to the checkout. There are 4 major grocery stores in Port Alberni where I enjoy watching shoppers and imagining who they are and how they live their lives. And while most people go about their business without attracting any special attention, I believe there are a few classic shoppers that can be found in any community, any supermarket. Shoppers that I'm sure you will recognize. One of them might even be you. The first is the lottery shopper. This person is compelled to cash in a stack of tickets at the express till during the busiest possible time, oblivious to the line that flows out behind them like a comet's tail, filled with people scowling and sighing in frustration. One type of lottery shopper is the middle-aged matron carrying a black leather purse the size of a gym bag, which sprawls across the counter as she begins to unzip one compartment after another with fingers weighted down with diamond rings. Finally, after all the tickets are located and checked, the cashier asks if she wants her winnings in cash or tickets. "Oh, I don't know," she replies. "How much is it?" The cashier tells her. "Well, how many tickets would that be?" "Just take the money and get on with it," calls out a young male customer dressed in dirty orange coveralls halfway down the line. In one hand, he cradles a bag from the deli, while in the other, he holds a large bottle of Coke, as if he is ready to launch it at the head of a lottery shopper. When her purchases are complete After she has chatted to the cashier and is about to zip up the last long zipper, she catches sight of the scratch tickets. "Oh, I haven't seen this one before. How do you win?" "I'll take one." "No, not that one. The other one." "And this one." "No, wait, I'll take that one instead." And she begins to dig in her purse once again. My favorite classic shopper is the social butterfly. They stop at the first thing they see when they walk through the door and make a comment to anyone who is nearby. "Oh, these look fresh." If no one is inclined to chat, they will move on to another item and try again. Then they engage the fellow who is stripping lettuce, sorting mushrooms, or piling boxes of mandarin oranges. You can shop through the entire store, come back to the produce department, and the butterfly is still there, yakking away to someone new while busy shoppers continue to flow around him. Butterflies carry on conversations with everyone, even luring the meat cutters out of their cold white caves or engaging vendors who come to stock the shelves with fresh bread and chips. There have been times when I have returned home and discovered I had forgotten something and driven back to the store only to discover the social butterfly stalled in the parking lot, still talking. The most annoying of classic shoppers has been eliminated during these days of COVID. But in pre-pandemic times, nothing got me fired up faster than the person in line behind me who kept bumping his shopping cart into the back of my legs. I was once ahead of a guy I recognized from work, a real jerk who didn't listen and was always right. What was wrong with him, I wondered. Couldn't he feel the contact of his rigid steel cart with the soft tissue of the human being in front of him? I could only take it for a few seconds before I turned around and made eye contact. Most folks would take the hint and back off, but he just looked away and after a minute started bumping again. I spent the next 10 minutes fantasizing about how I would roar up behind him as he was leaving the parking lot and nudge the trunk of his car with the bumper of my truck. Bump, bump, bump. How do you like that, asshole? Like I said, you can tell a lot about people by the way they navigate their way around a supermarket. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Vicki. That was great. And even greater when you read it, you bring it to life so well. That was sweet. Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
All right, our next reader is Judith Hutchinson, and Judith is zooming to us from home. Was hoping to join us, but things didn't work out that way. Hope everything's going all right now, Judith. And so grateful to have you here, and you're going to share part of Vanilla Slice with us, I guess, this evening.
Yeah, Derek, I'll need you to give me a signal that I can hear above the sound of my own voice, because I don't really know where I'll be at the 4-minute mark. Will you do that for me?
I'm on you. Yeah, okay. 10,
right.
9, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to thank you and everyone involved in making the book happen. And thanks to everyone participating tonight. It's really fun. Anyway, so here's my 4 minutes. Vanilla Slice. It was a cold winter morning and I was in Home Hardware. I was standing in the lineup at the till with a bag of organic fertilizer, well aware that I was in a combat zone, the place in every store where they deploy the racks of candy bars. Been in the dollar store lately? It's like trekking a minefield. Perhaps I overstate. Still, the struggle is real. Well, today I refuse to be unwittingly complicit in the destruction of orangutan habitat for cheap palm oil, and probably 10 other crimes as well. No, not today. Today, no world-controlling corporation is going to transfer money from my wallet into theirs. No candy bar. Anyway, there I was, testy but untouchable. I shuffled forward in the queue, only to spy a sign, 50% off. No harm in looking at the list of ingredients to pass the time. But what ho? These bars contained only healthy stuff. 50 cents. If I bought 2 of them, I'd save $1. And I'd be fulfilling a civic duty to support an eco-friendly business. I began rummaging through the bin to secure a complete sampling. I could keep them in the glove compartment of my car for those I'm hungry emergencies, the better to resist unscrupulous candy conglomerates. Look at me, loading up on scruples. I should buy a dozen. My mood had picked up. I decided to put my errands on hold and take the dog for a walk on the snowy log train trail. Give my halo a chance to shine. Hooray! Back from the woods, I followed my schedule to another counter, this time the Alberni chiropractic services. But I was early, by a whole half hour. Instead of slipping into impatience, I thought, recalibrate to Zen, go with the flow. Well, don't you know it, Mountain View Bakery was right there. I don't plan these things. What to do? The struggle is real. Sit in my frigid car and gobble down one of those nutrition bars? No, I require comfort. Turn on the heater then. No, that would waste gas, plus pollute, and I was sitting right in front of a warm building. Congratulating myself on impeccable judgment, I stepped up to this latest counter to consider my selection. It should not be so extravagantly indulgent as to invite self-censure. I ordered a small coffee and one of yesterday's donuts. As I read along, munching and slurping, I couldn't help but notice that my treat was noticeably dry. Time to spread a little Zen on the donut of the mind. The Dharma circles always to unity. I could eat carbs and punish myself for it at the same time. Hooray! My victory over circumstance proved to be short-lived because the book in my hands turned out to be a dud. Great, now what? Sit here and meditate on the nothingness of 15 minutes? What about that newspaper? The lady at the next table had left hers behind. There was only driving in section B. Well, that would have to get me through the next bit of infinity. I skimmed along until my attention was caught by an article on page 6. UN scientists report human activity causing mass extinctions, human species at risk. Why was this a single column on the back side of a page in section B? Why wasn't it in capital letters across page 1? Forget the stale bun. The end of the world was ruining my lunch. Something definitely needed adjustment.
Time's up.
Okay, I got up and headed for the chiropractor.
Perfect. Thank you, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Yeah, all right. Love to have heard the rest, but people are just going to have to buy the anthology now that you whetted their appetite, right? To hear it all. Fantastic. Okay, who we got next on the list here? Oh, David Kipling is coming to us live from Gibson's over on the Sunshine Coast. How are you, David?
Hi, yeah, thanks for doing the anthology. I think that's a greatest work of courage on earth, is to assemble an anthology of other people's writing. That is the work of a hero. I would never dare do it. Okay, this is the first half of Wreckers. I was a shy kid. My father's hand discreetly pushed me further back when he talked with Joe Hunt. Joe used what my mum called language, mouthing a capital L, and he had one all-purpose adjective for friend and foe alike. Besides, Joe smelled pretty rank, even from a distance. My dad smelled too, of course, but just sweat and work. Joe's overalls announced themselves from a distance. The kinds of hardware that our vineyard and orchard required cost a fortune new. The prices for that fancy aluminum irrigation pipe from California, forget it. My father would not buy new what he could get second-hand and serviceable. And Joe Hunt and his brother Jacob had a sprawling mountain of scrap that contained somewhere whatever a person would need. Joe and my dad wrestled with arithmetic in the dust on the hood of Hunt's truck. The squiggles they drew were not what I learned at school, but they flew fast, and a mutual nod confirmed their bargain. When Joe Hunt had tilted the flatbed to unload all the pipes and railroad ties, and had left in a cloud of diesel smoke, my father said, "Don't make that face, he's a good man." As we carried the creosoted ties, one on each end, to the barn, Dad looked down at me and added, "We'll drive over to their place another day, see what else they have. You might learn something." Joe and Jacob Hunt, with their families and dogs and ponies, ruled over acres of scrap metal on the outskirts of Cherry Creek. Jacob Hunt was a bachelor, but Joe had teamed up with a woman who came one day from Tarsus and stayed, and who was exactly his size. She had the facility of stopping all the bad language when she looked in at the doors of the Back Spa Tavern when she was chasing a debt. Their spread was just off Milligan Road, near the motocross track. Cars and trucks, airplane parts, railroad tracks, scaffolding, and rusted tanks were arranged on the oil-soaked ground. Along one fence stood a row of unlikely old dozer boats, retired from the log booming grounds, now minus their heavy GM diesels, but where birds were now nesting. This unwanted jumble the Hunts bought in bulk at government auctions or bankruptcies, and scavenged themselves for nothing. Occasionally, they got a whisper from a millwright in town about machinery to be replaced. They shipped scrap metal out to foundries for melting down. The family had first appeared like mushrooms in the 50s, when Macmillan Bloedel's Franklin River operation wanted rid of its 90-ton Baldwin steam locomotive. Bearskin Hunt and his sons came out of nowhere and did M&B the favor of taking the locomotive off their grateful hands for cash, for M&B's cash. Now, 40 years later, the Hunt's yard had a huge scrap grinder and a crusher that shook the earth and chewed up truck axles and steel beams the way a wolverine chews a moose carcass. Dad told me Bearskin and his two sons could make a dime out of a nickel and still look penniless. Bearskin Hunt had been a one-time deserter that no branch of the military wanted back. He couldn't help the body his God had given him, or the nickname the Alberni Valley chose for him. One of the town's Lutheran pastors had once visited the Hunt compound in hope of saving a soul. He came away shaking his head and quoting from Genesis chapter 27, "My brother Esau is an hairy man." That was long ago, and the hairy man had gone to his long rest, and his two sons soldiered on. It was all cash, nothing in writing or banks, but although the Hunt brothers were not known to read or write, their fingers knew accurately the value of any wad of banknotes. Their money, locals told each other in the pub, and it must be a bloody fortune, was stashed in the back of the guard dogs' kennels. And Joe Hunt's missus was the only woman who could touch the money. "And that's God's truth," said Mike Nazaruk, who was an instrument man at Coulson's. He swore he'd seen her. Mike was the town liar, but the town did agree that if anyone could safely reach in past a psycho German shepherd, it would be the Tarsis woman. That's enough.
Super, thank you, David. I love so many lines in there, but that one about you could make a dime out of a nickel and still look penniless, I think that's got to take the cake. Priceless. All right. Following up on David, we're going to go back to Char's Landing, and Karen Poirier is joining us there. And Karen is an accomplished visual artist and local Alberni writer. And yeah, when I read your story, Karen, about going down the inlet, I thought this is classic. This is, when I arrived here, I mean, the canal is sort of the glue that held everybody together. Going down that canal was like a ritual. You had to do that. You had to go down there, you had to go fishing. And if you were lucky enough, like you were, to stay in a float house down there, all the better. Otherwise, you just had to stay sober enough to drive home on your boat. That was it. So anyway, thanks for contributing, and I'll turn it over to you. Take it away, Karen.
Thanks, Derek. So glad to be here, and I'm very, very happy that the anthology is doing very well. This is an excerpt from the short story about a day fishing, and I would like to say that it is a true story. We left behind the pulp mill's industrial buildings guarded by wooden pylons on one side of us and looked ahead to Polly's Point. The water was steely blue, its cadence accentuated by reflections of light. The rushing wind slapped my face, whipped my hair about, and blew through my shirt as we sped down the widening canal. Except for a lone fisherman trolling in an aluminum boat close to shore, we didn't see anyone this early in the morning. We traveled about an hour through choppy waters in the mid-bay, past the gray-green trees lining the shoreline all the way to Club Point, where we made a wide curve to the right and entered the Imperial Eagle Channel. The water's motion changed from bumpy waves in the canal to the much larger rolling movements of the Pacific Ocean. Instinctively, I grabbed the steel rod supporting the roof to steady myself in the rise and fall of the boat. From the bottom of the boat and through my feet, I felt the motor's vibrations as it collided with water. Ahead, sea fog lifted, pulled back like drapes in the morning, and exhaled crisp, clean air and sharp, spirited colors, scintillating in the water and trees around us. We entered the secluded shelter of Effingham Bay, quiet and calm, with glassy water reflecting long-faced images of trees and sky, and ragged edges of rocks and naked snags plunging down into the sea. There it is, I said. It shone like a morning star, bright against deep green trees and shaded water. It was a rustic, sea-worn float cabin. Russ had towed it there a few years ago. He never locked it up. Anybody needing sanctuary from bad weather or boat troubles could tie up until they were ready to be on their way again. Russ pulled back the throttle and the boat cut through the clear crystalline water to the wharf of the cabin. We noticed a note on the door. It said, "Thanks for the use of your cabin. It was a lifesaver." Russ smiled, satisfied someone had been able to find cover in the old relic of a cabin. Russ lifted up the wooden cover on the window, allowing us a better view of the cabin's dusky interior. On inspection, we noted everything was as we last left it. A propane stove with chipped enamel stood in the corner with rough wooden shelves above it. Lining the shelves were tins of beans, soup, and corn, spotted with a little rust caused by West Coast dampness. A well-worn paint-chipped table with two brick-colored wooden chairs sat under the cabin's only window. In the back room were two oversized bunk beds stripped down with crab traps and plastic totes piled on top of them. "I think I'd rather sleep in the boat," I said. "That's what we have the cuddy for," Russ replied. Once the cabin was open and fresh air flowing through it, I began to inspect the outside of our home away from home. At the front of the cabin, the deck seemed to be intact. No loose boards or holes anywhere. At the back, one board on the deck was missing, creating a hole in the walkway around to the back of the cabin. "We'll have to be careful walking here," I said to Russ. "I'll repair it later," he said. "I see the bucket is still here." The bathroom consisted of a bucket with a toilet seat on top of it. It was surrounded by the back of the cabin, two walls on either side, and open air straight ahead and above. "I'm ready for coffee," said Russ, and he pulled two folded lawn chairs out of the boat, set them up on the deck, then went back for the thermos of coffee. We sat, and while we sipped our coffee, we drank in our surroundings. There's something about the taste of coffee in the open air. This is truly one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. Calmness seeped through me, and I felt privileged to enjoy this wonderful day.
Super, thank you, Karen. Thank you for taking us down the canal. Can't wait for summer to go down there again. All right, our next reader then is going to be Rory Rickwood there at Char's. Hey, Rory. And Rory's a local Port Alberni guy and writer of, what would we call it, young adult fantasy? Is that appropriate? Yeah. Yeah, so
Okay,
so grateful to you for throwing a chapter into the book, and please take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you, Derek. Good evening, fellow writers and lovers of the word. Anyways, I'd like to just to quickly set the context. My 12-year-old protagonist has slipped through time and has landed in South Ireland 4,200 years ago. Now he's traveling with 3 companions, and they're just sort of getting to know what it's like to be in the early Bronze Age. Do all people want to fight Neem people? I anxiously asked. There are many comings of new people all the time, and it is our home wizard that helps people keep good with each other, Moore said. When our wizard became gone, the AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY came and they were fighting us toward us, Neem. More and more AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY came, and so I was sent with our elders on a boat to go across the water to this land where there is no big danger. Then I met Cork and Gord on the big trail, and we have been good companions for many, many seasons. Moore's story made me feel anxious. I couldn't make sense of the words Bra-Ochlan. My first understanding was Raven Boys, and then the 2 words became clearer in my mind. Bad battlers. Locking eyes with Moore, I said, that means you haven't seen your ma for a long time? Moore's eyes shifted to the ground, pausing. Then he lifted his eyes toward me and solemnly replied, no ma for a long time. Cork was clearly sensing the emotions of the moment and turned to me and asked, does Zach have any stuffs to show us? Clever move there, Cork, I thought. I have 2 stuffs to show you. I quickly patted my pockets. I pulled out my jackknife and my loonie coin, which clinked together when I opened my hands toward them. I proudly said, this knife is my Tonto style, and this coin we call a loonie, but it's not good for anything here. I flicked the jackknife open to expose the glimmering stainless steel. I held them in each hand and panned them around to a chorus of oohs from the gobsmacked faces of the companions. Gord quickly plucked the coin from my hand for a closer look. Pointing at the knife, Moore asked, may I have looks? I placed it into his open hand. Moore's fingers carefully touched the edge of the blade and then surprisingly put the blade sideways in his mouth and bit down. I was sure Moore's tan complexion paled as he registered the hardness of the blade. He pulled the blade from his mouth and stared intently at it. As he looked over at me, I noticed a small line of blood on his lower lip. He quickly handed the jackknife to Cork, who gave him some kind of look. Cork immediately bit down on the tip of the shiny blade with his front teeth. Brextorek was the only words that came out of Cork's mouth as he quickly dropped the jackknife to the ground. Understanding Cork's snap reply, I replied, no, it's not witchcraft. This is small stuff all wizards have so that they can do good things. I quickly picked up my Tonto and put it back in my pocket. During the awkward exchange with others, Gord was preoccupied holding and staring at the loonie coin and interrupted everyone with a hearty laugh while pointing at the bird on the coin and said, Tu brajera. He clearly recognized the bird on the image on the coin. Like others, he had to put the coin in his mouth and bit down hard to see if he could leave teeth marks on the brajera, the water hen. Okay.
Thank you, Rory. Thank you, man. Good writing, transporting, and how you create an atmosphere so quickly and in a foreign setting like that. It's amazing. All right, our next reader is coming from the Sunshine Coast again, and we're going over to Kathleen Vance. And Kathleen, you had a couple of pieces in the anthology, so I guess you're gonna choose which one you want to share, and I'm going to be good with either of them because I love them both. So it's all yours.
Okay. Storm clouds. Wearing her bathing suit under her top and shorts and no socks with her sneakers and with her towel under her arm, Anne set out with her older brother Tommy and sister Margaret across the field, just as the storm cloud was approaching. Anne knew it couldn't be helped. You had to wait 2 hours after lunch, because if a kid didn't, the food still in its stomach would attack it and drag the kid down to the bottom of the water, just like the giant monster in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They had all spotted the donkey in the corner of the field and knew they shouldn't run, because then the donkey would chase them. If the donkey chased a kid, the donkey would kick the kid and then stomp on the kid until the kid was as flat as a pancake in the middle of the field. So Anne kept her eye on that donkey as she stopped to scratch a mosquito bite on her leg with the heel of her sneaker. "Don't do that. You'll get another infection," Margaret said from behind her. "Mind your own beeswax," Anne yelled and rushed ahead. At the far end of the field, Tommy pointed to the white spool on the barbed wire fence as he scrambled between the wires. Anne was crawling under the lowest wire when she felt the tug on her top and knew that she was caught. "Oh no, I'm going to be fried, just like the gangster going to the electric chair that even Father Connolly couldn't save in the Dead Eggheads movie." She cried for her brother to help, but he just called her a baby and kept on going. Margaret came up from behind. "Don't move and I'll get you loose." And Anne went all limp like she was dead, and her sister worked the barb out of Anne's top so Anne could squirm free. They headed downhill towards the creek. They were in luck. The cows were under the trees, and the wider spot where a kid could swim was free of cows and in the sun. They hung their clothes over the branches and waded in, on the lookout for cow patties and any really slimy mud. That's when Anne found it, a flat rock to sit on while the water, which cooled down her burning hot skin, reached up to but didn't cover her chin. It was the very best thing Anne had hoped for. That's when they all spotted the lightning. Even though they didn't get that much lightning in Port Alberni, they knew that water was the worst place to be and that they had to get out of there. The next worst place to be was in a field, especially if you were the tallest thing in it. Anne reached her hand to the First Communion cross she always wore around her neck. Lightning loves metal. She remembered the story Margaret had told her about the girl who was struck by lightning. The lightning had traveled right through the girl's cross and made a huge burn mark on her chest in the shape of a cross. But when the Lithuanian priest in church had asked them all what they would do when the communists came and said they would kill everyone who didn't leave the church, Anne had promised to never take off her cross. "Cross my heart and hope to die." Anne knew she wasn't the bravest kid. She liked it better when they went to church on Ash Wednesday after school instead of before, so she didn't have to listen to all the kids asking why she had such a dirty forehead. But when Bobby, now, if you want to know about Bobby, you have to get this book.
Perfect. Thank you, Kathleen. You know how to pitch it. Excellent. Super, super. Thank you. All right. Our next reader, actually, Randy Fred, has agreed for me to read his piece for him. Randy's got some visual challenges, so he was unable to read it on his own, but I didn't want to miss out on this piece. I quite enjoyed it, and I think you will too. And I think Randy, as an elder from the Sechet First Nation, brings an interesting and fresh perspective on the Alberni Valley, both historically and still true to today, unfortunately. And so this one is called Port Alberni Summers. I better put my glasses on to make sure I get the fine print here. I like to tell young people to be prepared for when they turn 30. It's as though someone has stepped on the gas. That's what it was like for me anyway. When I turned 30, the world sped up dramatically. Summers in the Alberni Valley throughout the 1960s seemed so long and eventful. My mother used to tell us if we were bored, it was our own fault. There was always something to do. Mom would make sure every one of us 19 children would do our assigned chores. Then she would kick us out of the house and say, "See you at dinner time." The Alberni Valley is an outdoor paradise, made for summertime fun. There are large lakes, small lakes, rivers, and even salt water where the Somas River flows into the Alberni Inlet. I've lived most of my life in Nanaimo, where there are really no decent places to swim. There are many such places in Port Alberni. There are sandy beaches, grassy beaches, and plenty of places to dive. It would be a true paradise had they not built a pulp mill there. The pulp mill destroyed the Alberni Canal and the Somas River. Insane clear-cut logging destroyed the mountainsides and brought further destruction to the waterways. It takes a lot of trees to keep that ugly pulp mill fed. My dad always said, mankind is very stupid. He always stated this when discussing the management by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, DFO. He was a commercial fisher, but he generally stated this when speaking about mankind in general. Still, to this day, I ask myself, if mankind is so smart, why are we still destroying our lands and waterways? Maybe we are more stupid than intelligent. When one is in their teens, pollution and stupid mankind are not priorities. In fact, they rarely even become thoughts to ponder. Teens have more important priorities to occupy their thoughts and minds. For instance, I wonder if that pretty gal over there wearing that pink bikini will go for a swim with me. Better still, I wonder if she will go for a canoe ride with me. The wondering usually ended up at, I wonder how I can make some money so I can take that lovely gal out on a date. Money was hard to come by. In those days, it was still possible to scour the riverbanks for scrap metal. A boat propeller was a huge find. Odd jobs would come about once in a while on the reservation. It was a total waste of time pounding the pavement looking for a summer job. Natives were not business owners back then. Racism was rampant. If we were caught exercising our Aboriginal right to fish, we were punished. I could not see in the dark, but this did not keep me from nighttime fishing. Coy Watts owned a large gill net that could stretch across the entire river. Kelly Sport and I borrowed Coy's net several times, and we loaded up our canoes in short order. It was hard work. After cleaning the fish off the net, we would have to carry the fish up a steep river bank and load them into a wheelbarrow to haul them up the hill to my parents' house. Chinook back then still got as big as 50 pounds. Kelly and I had so much fun. In between cleaning off the net, we would lay on a beach towel at Paper Mill Dam and look up at the stars and chat about our favorite topic, girls. We did a lot of laughing. We never worried about getting caught by DFO. Their employee, Jack Shitlow, who we called the fish guard, wore hearing aids. DFO issued him a very noisy truck and an even noisier outboard motor. We could hear him coming from miles away, giving us plenty of time to haul in our net and beach our canoe. I was a good rower. My parents and siblings all knew I had a visual impairment. When we rowed a canoe, we would row backwards. My mom or dad would steer the canoe while I rowed, so I naturally became very good at it. My Uncle Jake came to my dad to ask if I could row for him. It was sockeye season, and instead of being huge Chinooks, they generally weighed 3 to 6 pounds each. My dad told Jake it was okay, so we headed up to Paper Mill Dam in his canoe, which was more tippy because it was a river canoe. Ours was built for the ocean, so it was much heavier and stable. The tide was starting to go down, so the river was getting more swift. Jake's decision to turn towards shore was a couple seconds too late, and the current caught us. His net was so full of sockeye it almost flipped the canoe over. I had to jump overboard and drag the canoe ashore. There was nearly 200 sockeye in that one set. After cleaning them off the net, we had to row downriver to a beach below Jake's house to carry the fish up the riverbank to his truck. I was so tired. I looked forward to my cut the next day. What a disappointment. Jake gave me only 2 sockeye for all my work. Needless to say, I never rowed for him again. That's only about half of this piece that Randy wrote, and it's well worth the future or the further read for those who have the anthology or those don't. I better mention now where you can get this darn thing. We put it in the chat. But just in case you haven't looked at the chat, you can go to rcn.media.com /Alberni-OL-GY and pick up a copy. And also a reminder, if you have the notion to help Char out, e-transfer at charslanding.com. Always appreciated some funds to keep Char's Landing rolling along. So I'll put my plugs in for the evening for both those. All right, our next reader is Bruce Hornage, and Bruce is going to share some of his writing with us. I'm not sure which one you're on to exactly, but I'm sure it's going to be entertaining. It's the one with the Mars bomber, right?
Yeah, the story that I had in the book is about my interaction with the Mars bomber. I was a logger and the 20 years after that. But it's too long, so I wrote this one. Hopefully it's a little more entertaining than trying to listen to a long one. And I hope I don't cough all the heck. This is the story of Bruce Moves East. After my wife retired, we decided because our son had built a parent suite addition to his house, we would move to Ontario to live. Moving has been an issue of downsizing property, furniture, and stuff acquired over the years. I recommend to anyone facing retirement to aggressively address this maintenance. It is imperative to keep what is necessary, but divest of the non-essentials. Those are anchors that restrict life and liberty. Most of the furniture had to go either sell, give away, or Salvation Army. My older model SUV Tucson would be given to kidney car recovery for a tax rebate. Some special furniture and 5,000 pounds of stuff would be shipped east, with the remainder going into storage. While lifting a much too heavy box of books, I strained my shoulder and right arm quite badly. This was not a very good start, proving that I am not as young as I was anymore. The movers took away the transit stuff on the Friday. The divested stuff was moved out to various locations. That day, the Port Alberni temperature topped Humidex 48 degrees Celsius. Everyone had their car cooling system on, with the cars running, which made the street even hotter downtown. My car didn't like it, so shut off automatically. It was fine next day, but required a garage visit to reset computer gadgetry. We spent a week cleaning the house and visiting mother-in-law in Ucluelet, and on July 9th, flew out, stopping in Calgary to change flights. I got onto the floor escalator to rest from a long walk in the airport. Dragging my carry-on bag behind me, which you're supposed to carry baggage while on the escalator. My feet rolled forward, but my head and brain stayed put, so I went over backwards onto the moving floor. It was that easy for an old guy to fall down. People came running to shut down the escalator and assist the old guy, who was understandably very embarrassed. Everyone was wearing COVID masks, which maintained anonymity. But it all sure must have looked funny on the security camera. The apartment our son built has a bedroom with a two-piece bathroom and a half wall to a sitting room with a fireplace. There is a deck to view the pool and a yard out to the back. There will be a hot tub added underneath that deck. Our two granddaughters have rooms on the back with a full bathroom for all and a kitchen TV room separating us. We will see how this all works out. Both parents work from home and have been unable to clean up all the construction debris or return the landscaping to what it had been envisioned. After unpacking and helping with some of the finishing work, I can busy myself outside. He did say there was no end to the work that needs to be done. In summertime, this country is humidex hot. I will need to acclimatize to it and drink lots of water. Enjoy the soreness and the sweating. All the flower gardens need to be de-weeded, re-established, and mulched over. So too does the front lawn, and a large area of the backyard pool landscaping needs to be de-weeded and planted. His entire fence line requires cleaning out to be seen again, weed whacking everywhere, as well as removing sumac trees, alders, and thistle plants. There are dirt piles everywhere to level and remove to other locations. At harvest time, I tried to develop a recovery of walnuts from nearby walnut trees. They are too messy and greasy to spend the time on, so I returned them to the squirrels and chipmunks to hide. My son is an accomplished chef, so I am fed well. So too, the pool is a welcome in the humid afternoons and the cool beer at night. I have reacquired the beginnings of a murder story and a war story that I started decades ago. So there's writing that I can work in this coming winter. I hope to visit the coast for a couple of months in January, which I'm told is the beginning of the really cold time here in Ontario. I miss you guys awfully. See you on Zoom when Wi-Fi permits. I also have an independently adjustable bed. Again, I recommend it. Greetings from retirement. Yours truly, Bruce Hornick.
Thank you, Bruce. Yeah, retirement, I think it's a misnomer myself. I mean, with all you were listing off there, and I know my life, I mean, yeah, I'm not getting the paid work, but I'm as busy as ever, and that's the way it goes, right? So
I lost some weight, so we're doing good.
Good, awesome. Well, and good to hear you're going to fly home for a bit in the new year too. Hopefully we can get together then. All right, thank you so much. All right, our last reader from AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY is Laura Sturgeon, last but not least, absolutely. So she's going to share a little bit of her Yeti story with us, I think. And you're live, and Laura is a local Port Alberni writer who's got a couple of books out, young adult novels, and I'll pitch those a little bit later. For now, I'm just going to let Laura read from her piece. Go ahead, Laura.
Okay. Well, thanks for everyone that contributed and brought this book into fruition. Yeah, Colton did a really good job on this, so I was really excited when I got copies. So yeah, I'm really glad to have it. So I was thinking of perhaps reading the last bit instead of the first bit, but maybe I'll just start from the beginning. So this is called Pit Stop Peril. It's based on a true story, sort of. So anyway, it was a long drive back from Nanaimo, longer than usual, as my bladder was full due to a large Tim Hortons iced cap. The pressure had been slowly building, but I chose to zip past the numerous gas stations perched along the island highway. By the time I had turned onto the Alberni highway, the situation was becoming urgent. Fortunately, I knew of several outhouses coming up. Cameron Lake wasn't too far. Throughout the twists and turns, I was sure I'd make it to the main swimming area. One outhouse sat along a trail, which I'd used on many occasions. But this time, I didn't stop there. I saw a sign indicating a picnic area and veered off to the right. As I slowly drove down a narrow dirt road, I looked around with apprehension. This was a spot I had passed countless times, yet never checked out. Douglas fir trees towered all around, blocking out a large portion of what was left of the daylight. I parked and spotted 2 outhouses right away. Great. Go in, pee, get out, and continue my way home to Port Alberni. At least that's what I figured the situation would entail. Upon leaving the outhouse, however, I caught a glimpse of the lake and mountains between the trees. A trail led forward toward what I was sure would be an incredible view, one that couldn't be missed. It was a treat to be able to spend time soaking in the splendor of the Cameron Lake area instead of merely driving by it. But once I took a few steps down the pathway, an uneasy feeling came over me, and I instinctually picked up a pointy stick. It wasn't much, but at least it was something in case I needed to defend myself. The sun was setting fast. There wasn't much time to check out this new nature scene, and I was alone. I figured it was best that a young woman such as myself not be wandering an unknown trail, and decided to head back to my car. Moments later, I heard a loud bang. Figuring it was just an outhouse door slamming shut, I wasn't alarmed. But once I made my way around one outhouse, another loud bang was heard. This time, I knew the sound wasn't coming from the door. There was a third bang. Then a rock was seen rolling on the ground. That's when I realized that rocks were being thrown and were hitting the side of the outhouse. Now I was unnerved. I looked around. I saw no one and heard nothing whatsoever. The forest was silent except for the bangs. No talking, shouting, laughter, nor rustling of trees. Why was someone throwing rocks at the outhouse that I had just used moments before? A couple of vehicles were parked near mine. Was it a driver of one of these vehicles or one of the occupants throwing them? What would be the point? Was it out of boredom? Perhaps they were doing something they shouldn't be doing, like dealing drugs, and wanted me out of the area. Another larger rock was seen flying out of the forest, and it landed on the ground close to me. Yes, I deduce somebody did not want me there for whatever reason. Positive that my windshield would be smashed any minute, I quickly unlocked my door, got in, and drove away fast. I was lucky, no damage to my car, but whoever was throwing the rocks could easily have smashed all of my windows if they wanted to, or they could have caused me serious injury. I believe the rocks were meant only to scare me away. I was more annoyed than scared, but whatever their intent, they succeeded in getting me to leave. Once I got home, I posted this strange experience on Facebook and asked my friends what they thought of the situations were. The general consensus was that the behavior seemed to denote a Sasquatch. I considered that a ridiculous notion. Not that I didn't believe in the possibility of their existence, I just didn't believe they resided in a lakeside picnic area close to a road traveled by regular commuters. I would have seen one at some point. I'd been driving Highway 4 back and forth almost daily for 3 years. Bears have been spotted, thousands of deer, but no Bigfoot. Or have there been? There have been numerous reports of Bigfoot sightings in Tofino, Kennedy Lake, Indian Bay, Radar Hill, Long Beach, Coombs, and Whiskey Creek. Perhaps it's not too much of a stretch that they could be spotted here in the Alberni Valley as well. Maybe they drank the clear water from the pool at the hole in the wall and bathed in the waterfall. Maybe they caught trout in the raging Stamp River. Are bears the only big hairy beasts seen from Victoria Key, or do we need to look closer? Have they been watching swimmers enjoy the warm, clean water at Sprout Lake, Port Alberni's recreational paradise? Would they know what the petroglyphs depicted? Perhaps they've been sniffing the air as burgers are barbecued at Canal Beach. Do they occasionally check out the old buildings and sawmill at the McLean Mill Historic Site, wondering how humans could live in such small dwellings instead of freely roaming about in the great outdoors? If only they weren't so elusive. Maybe one day they will step out of those old growth forests and enter into a new world where they can dine on scrumptious food at the Harbor Quay, or cruise to Bamfield on the Lady Rose, watching humpback whales along the way. Perhaps they'll attempt a game of Frisbee in Blair Park. They'd certainly get quite the distance, flinging that disc so far it would never be seen again. Someday Sasquatch may casually wander about in hats and shades, enjoying a latte along Argyle Street. But until then, they will continue to reside in the 6,000 plus square kilometers that make up the Port Alberni Valley, occasionally throwing rocks at us. Let's just hope our property and our noggins will be okay. That's it.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Thank you. And that concludes our readers out of AL-BER-NI-OL-OGY. And big thanks to all you authors out there for reading, stepping up and reading so well and contributing in the first place and making this book the success that it is and that it's going to become even more so, I think, as we get it shopped around the valley and beyond and hopefully raise some more money for hospice. So gratitude to all. And that was fun and really great to listen to you. I had the pleasure of doing, excuse me, doing the audiobook for that. And I got to apologize right now. I don't read nearly as well your pieces as well as you all did. So forgive me, but I did the best I could with it anyway. Okay, so we're going to have a few open micers to close up the evening. And thank you for your patience for staying with us. And we're going to start off with Kelly B. Madden. Kelly was a student of mine up in the Comox Valley a few years back and who distinguished herself early on in the class with how good her writing was. As soon as I think I was your first or second poem, I knew this is a poet. It's a poet's voice. She knows what it's about. So, and just published a book of poetry recently. Maybe you want to just share the name of that one and throw it in the chat where people can pick it up, Kelly. So
That's
welcome to Lecture Murray.
Thank you, Derek. That's so kind. I assumed that I wasn't reading actually because of the launch. And so now I've lost my nerve a little bit. I'll just read one if that's okay.
That's fine, absolutely.
Instead of a few. I wasn't ready.
No worries.
This is my book. It's called If I'd Known. And it's available at Blue Heron in Comox and also through Red Toque books online. And let's see. Leaving all the lights on. It was dangerous when you grabbed the wheel and nearly sent us down the embankment on Back Road. After I left you, your vehicle circled my neighborhood the way eagles do, scanning the beach for small dogs. So that's a small little taste.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you. And powerful little taste of that. Yeah.
Thank
Ooh.
you.
Yeah, gave me shivers. All right. So yeah, you'll have to come back next time, Kelly, and share a few more pieces. And please do put your information in the chat box there so people know where to pick up your book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Good to see you again.
Congratulations, everyone, on your beautiful book. Congratulations to all the writers. It's
awesome. Thank you.
okay.
All right. So we're flashing from the West Coast over to the East now. Jennifer, you're still awake there in Ontario?
Right, still here. You're hard by bedtime, but yeah, we're still going. Congratulations, everybody, on the book. It sounds absolutely wonderful, and thanks for including me here. I have 3 shortish poems. This week is the Transgender Week of Awareness, which culminates tomorrow in the Transgender Day of Awareness, Transgender Day of Remembrance, rather, tomorrow. And the first piece I picked was chosen with that in mind. It is called Intrusion, was published by Belleville Review. The roots of it are in personal rumination, although the spark in the end for this particular piece was an older black and white photograph that was one of the days for one of those page-a-day calendars. And this particular page-a-day calendar was centered on Paris. And so, as I say, intrusion. Black and white image colored with meaning. Paris, la ville lumière, the city of light, re-emerging after the ghastly darkness of World War II. Long shadows denote a cooling summer's evening at an outdoor cafe under the trees. Champenois from Lorraine, the queen of beers, the house beverage. Drinks and cigarettes on the tables. Music lost except the clasping dancers frozen mid-shuffle. These men oblivious or perhaps peacock proud, but burning still eyes, women's eyes. On the left, sporting a gaily floral dress, dark sweater, and a face replete with irritation and an air of disgust, boring into the interloper the silent, screaming questions. Who are you? What are you? A formal skirt suit center foreground, stiff and self-conscious, determined not to look, but peripheral vision in full play. And on the right, back a few steps over her partner's shoulder, piercing fear of being exposed, of the outsider. I've seen those looks and others many times. Side eye, up and down scan, double take, full on stare, quietly pointed out, conspicuously whispered about, shouted at. Many reasons reducing to one. I am intruding on their world, on their psyches, an unexpected, unwanted, disturbing element. Attempting release from the hypnotic gazes, I try to turn the page. Thank you. Now, the next 2 pieces were both published by Journey of the Heart, which has as a subtitle Women's Spiritual Poetry. So these are a different character altogether. The first one is called Lost Songs. It has an epigraph. Maybe the desire to make something beautiful is the peace of God that is inside each of us, which are wonderful lines from Mary Oliver's Friends, Mark's Blue Horses. The Lost Songs. Once I wrote songs, was young and didn't know any better, aspired to an unreachable fantasy, to a person I couldn't then be. Immature, fragile tunes and gossamer words soon lost in a cacophony of mocking laughter from without and within, drowned out by blasts of seriousness, reasonableness, conformity, naive notes distorted into an unending metronomic drumbeat of analytics and logic and practicality. The song shattered, scattered on the winds of uncounted delicate melodies, never given voice, throats, and souls strangled by fear and acquiescence. Is that the end? Divine spark forever sublimated or smothered? Sometimes. But maybe a lifetime later, the quixotic urge returns unbidden, the primordial quest for beauty reborn, habit and convention cast aside, and the fragments of long ago dreams reforged with hard-won tools, perhaps one autumn day, to sound a hopeful transfigured echo of long-lost songs. Thank you. And the final piece is called Gossamer and Fireflies. And this actually was one of those things that it sort of appeared in the middle of the night, somewhere around 2 a.m. or something like that. As I was drifting about, well, you'll hear about it in the piece. Deep and nocturnal stillness and quiet when floating between wakefulness and sleep, time's illusion falling away, space folding in on itself, isolation and separation melting in the starlight. I sense them like gossamer after a dew in the gentle light of a calm autumn morning, or fireflies in a still meadow as dusk slips away on a warm early summer evening. Luminous, numinous voyages uncounted, uncountable, all around, near and far, some intersecting and entwining, some never touching, to each its own trajectory, origins uncertain, destinations unseen. All too soon, the winds of my restless soul mind sweep away the fragile portal, but the ethereal tapestry remains, perhaps like gossamer and fireflies, awaiting a magical moment of rediscovery. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Yeah, though that state in between sleep and wake, it's magical. It can happen in there.
It can be.
Yeah, my wife gets incredible intuition out of there and comes up with some amazing stuff sometimes. It's good. All right, we're gonna move on then. Cynthia Sharp is gonna share a little bit more of her poetry. And I thought one poem was just too much of a tease in the anthology, so I'm glad you're gonna share a little bit more work with us, Cynthia. Go ahead.
Yeah, these are also kind of Alberni based. This is called The Sojourner's Way. In the haven of silence, I no longer carry everyone's blind spots. Put some of it down, let nirvana return. Fallen tree, uprooted no more. Thunder, rain, time. Cherry petals in a sea of blue. The swoosh of a sand stream, emptied of unwanted current. Slow journeys. I was trying to memorize it, but it didn't work. Slow journeys, the softness of wind in birch leaves, heart of green earth breathing. These afternoons before I go to forest. Only a tiny fraction makes it to the light, but that fraction embodies all. Just, I'm so inspired by the forests and around Port Alberni that I love to write about them and ourselves as forest in a sense. And my last one is takes place in a church, and I thought it'd be a nice tribute to Char's landing in the church there. So this is Take Flight. Take flight from inside the cathedral as red roses bloom into the ataraxia of summer days. The fragrance of perfumed peonies and rain, the wind brings in the window, a calling to trust this place in the universe and time. A humbling beauty, akin to the rich harmonies of bows traversing the strings of violins in worship. Like Mary Magdalene, hand-washing clothes, her palms cold and pink in the sanctity of starlit cypress in the night. Let the deep purple jacaranda and earth through our feet align through the steeple to the temple and tempo of this sacred present moment. So thank you so much for letting me add a little bit more.
Sweet, thank you. That was awesome.
I thought I had them memorized, but I didn't. But I also thought my glasses were stronger, but they're not. So
Yeah.
middle age is so here.
Oh, God. When you get a little older, you think they need to be stronger now. Oh, my goodness. No, that was wonderful. I love that that part about the bow of the violin across the strings as worship. That was a sweet moment. Lots of sweet moments in there. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on now. We're back to live at Char's Landing, and Bob Frankow, aka Joe Lunchbucket, is gonna close out the night for us. Is he? Oh, yeah. I think it's after 8, so I don't know whether we're gonna have time to get you in again, Bruce. If that's okay, we'll maybe just wind it up with Bob, unless you got something really short. Is just send me a note in the chat, okay, Bruce? While Bob reads here. Okay, Bob, take it away. It's all yours.
For the first time in 30 years of competition, US finally beat China's brain team. American teammates smiled for the photo opportunity, but both opposing teams appeared to be Asian. Jailed minorities are not proportional to the percentage of their population, and number of women off reserves disappearing on Highway of Tears exceeds the percentage of the general population. Do police target minorities more than Caucasians because they're more involved in crime, or is it a case of both? A researcher was accused of racism when he said Caucasian IQ was 10% above African American, until his statistics disclosed that Asians were 5% higher than Caucasians. Asian enrollment in top universities, God's chosen inordinate success in the world's top professions, and African American domination in pro sports exceeds the percentage of their populations. Is white supremacy a figment of US Southerners' imagination? Rome didn't discriminate and enslaved anyone they conquered, and the 1% fund Black and white politicians. Aboriginals had no immunity to colonists' viruses and fell prey to viruses, alcohol that they had never experienced before. Is it feasible that all residential teachers were abusers, or is it the climate, or is the climate not politically correct to praise them? China and Japan suffered less cancers and heart problems until they ate meat like the West. We don't all get an even start in life, but we can learn from statistics or keep repeating them. Are some races genetically gifted in nature's survival of the fittest game? Will we fare better when ET makes contact, and will their missionaries save our souls too? Are Robert Burns's words, "O Lord, the gift she give us to see ourselves as others see us," still relevant today? If I've got time for one more, I'll give you one more. Yes?
Yeah, one short one, go for it.
All right. Familiars was a term given to witches' cats. Most are independent, and some given to spats. I had a chat with scruffy old Tom the other day. He was beat up, outlived his stay, but this he had to say: The law of the jungle dictates only alphas breed. I've had my place in the sun and sowed my seed. Nature has no caste nor privilege. The fittest on weak feed. No conscience, no pity. We devour live prey as they bleed. To none do we confess, and even with our own kin compete. Not for trophy nor sport feat. We don't. If we don't hunt, we don't eat. Was creation by chaos and extinctions intelligent design? Is religion an opiate to keep the 99% in line? Atheist man was food chain menu and had no time to pray. Did species decay when weak bred on agrarian buffet? You differ by only 2% DNA from your simian kin. Does faith or greed genes separate you and your genetic twin? Does your ego proclaim a life after death for your soul? Are you chosen or codependent and play subservient role? With natural selection you interfere and new life engineer. Do you fail as Earth's steward when life forms disappear? Are cosmetic surgery and Olympic Games society vanity? When third world hungers, are you lacking Christianity? You waste resources on cathedral monuments to immortality. To ravage or save Earth, did evolution give you the mentality? Will you overpopulate, pollute, and battle for breathing space? Will exploring other planets start another colonization race?
Thank you, Bob, for winding us up there. And thank you, everybody, for turning out tonight and sharing in the launch and in the open mic readings as well. As good as always. And I would be remiss if I didn't end by thanking our gracious host, Char from Char's Landing, for running the Zoom, which was particularly challenging tonight, I think, with what we were doing in different mediums, and you did an outstanding job of keeping everything rolling there. Thanks for that. Thank you also to Karl, our moderator, for lining up all our readers and keeping track of things and keeping us all in line. Thank you, thank you. Thank you to Jackie, our artistic director, for all that she does and your contributions to not just tonight, but the anthology and everything else that you do here in the Valley as well. Thank you, thank you. And to Micah Gardner, our photographer. I don't know whether he was here tonight. I didn't see his little phone symbol, but he often drops in. And of course, thank you to all of our readers and our listeners for being part of the Electric Mermaid tonight. You've made Luma proud. You can see her gleaming in the background over the people there at Char's Landing. It's so wonderful to see live bodies there again, filling that space. And I hope they're eating and drinking lots, Char. Final reminder, e-transfer at charslanding.com for those who feel generous or are able to contribute to Char there to keep the place running. And for those of you who want access to a copy or know someone who might want to, again, the address is in the chat there. So it's rcn.media.com/AL-BER-NI-OL-O-GY, and you can get copies of the anthology sent to you. And we'll have a nice fat check to give to Alberni Valley Hospice.
Thank you,
So
Derek.
that's about it for tonight, everybody.
Thanks, Derek, for all you do.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks, everyone.
It's been fun. Our baby is out in the world at last. It's launched.
Hey, oh, don't forget to come back and see us December. So members readings, right?
Mm-hmm. So a little loose on the time constraints in the members readings. So no big featured readers. So members can carry on a little longer than normal. No War and Peace, but anything under 10 minutes should be fine, right? So yeah, that'll be the Christmas one, I guess. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody there.
Third
Yeah.
Friday, always.
See you guys.
Beautiful.
Bye. Thank you, Derek.
All right.
Thank you,
Take
Jackie.
care, all. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good night, John Boy.
Great job hosting, Derek. Thank you so much. Wonderful
Oh,
job.
thank you. I'll go see you.
Thank you for making it back there, Jackie.
Yeah.
Not getting swept out by that sinkhole.
I know. I thought I was going to get swallowed up.
Crazy.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, me too. Thank you, Carl, and thank you for your work.
You're welcome.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Bye-bye. Hey,
Take
Bruce,
care.
I'll talk to you soon. Okay.